What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at
playing against this guy right here who is way too loose. We've played about 80 hands with him already, and his VPIP is 38. He's limping about a quarter of his hands. So we should be looking at getting into hands against this guy whenever we can and see how that works, because he can't defend a range of this size. I'm not sure if that's going to work out for us or not. It will on this hand. I'll go first. So this is easy. We get limp, and then somebody limps along with the ace three. These two limps are, not good choices, but they're not terrible hands if you had to have a limping range to have it. But this ace three is terrible because he's going to be dominated whenever he gets played against. This, we don't care what his cards are. And then we come in for a raise. And the standard size raise here is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. 7.5 is a good size raise here. We have kings, so we size down to 7.5. And if everybody folds, we're okay, because these aces have 30% equity. Well, normally 30% equity against us, but since they interfere with each other, it knocks it down. But luckily, the one guy calls and his ace is blocked, so this is great. All right. He should check. This should go check, bet, fold. Check, bet, call. This is why we want to be in hands with him. No pair, no draw, puts in another 6 big blinds. Great. And now he bluffs it. This is a really easy call, and I don't see any reason to raise this. He has some flushes. We have the flush draw back at him. He has 2 pairs. I don't see any reason to raise this. So we just call. The 6 comes, and he continues to bluff. His bluff is, and his bluff is all in. So this is trivial. We're done. We take all that money. And now, does he leave? And we have to go to another table or not? He's broke on this hand, but I think he's going to come back. Tura, you're next.
Open aces.
Yep.
And fold to the big blind.
Good.
You can either 3-bet or call, mostly call.
Yep. Now take a look at the VPIP on the guy in the small blind. So now, obviously, he should fold. What do you think he's going to do?
Probably call.
With a VPIP of 40, this is what VPIPs of 40 look like. They include calls like this. Okay, great. And now the 10s.
Call.
Do you want to squeeze now?
I'd
Do you want to?
squeeze.
Yeah. So my question is going to be, whatever before you were going to 3-bet this sum and you were going to call this sum, some mix, right? When this guy comes in, does that increase or decrease that ratio of 3-bets to calls? Increase. All right, let's see by how much. And by the way, he calls. So let's just take a look at that. So the aces are in the 1, 2, 3. So low jack raises, big blind with 10s. His ratio is 75-25. 25% are the raises. Now, put in the small blind call, and the big blind changes too. Okay, let's see if we can go back. Here we go. Small blind calls. Do I have this? No, I have this. So button folds, small blind calls. Now it's there. Now let's look at those 10-10s. Interestingly, the opposite of what you and I thought. I was agreeing with you, but not in the solver. In the solver,
I think jacks went from probably a 50-50 to pure squeeze now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, jacks weren't even 50-50. Jacks were still almost a pure call, and now they go to a pure squeeze, whereas 10s.
Right. So we have these pranks with 10s, 8s, and 6s. And they're all going to go away. The 10s, 8s, and 6s are all going to go away, and they're going to shove into jacks when this happens. Right? No 10s.
It's interesting. Yeah. I mean,
I was surprised by that.
yeah, essentially 10s become a set mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I prefer to take them heads up, though. I mean, I think one of the fundamentals of this kind of situation is that you prefer to squeeze, invest up front in order to get the hand heads up.
Yeah, and also remember that the small blind range here, we see 6-7, right? Obviously, the chart, a good solid GTO player is not flatting the small blind with even remotely close to the range that a recreational player is. So that's going to change
True.
all these ratios by, you're going to squeeze way more.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
totally,
agreed.
if we put, so, and it's not that we're saying the solver is wrong. We're saying if we node locked this to the actual range we're getting, the solver would then respond with more three bets here. Cool. So he calls, the hand is Turas, and there is your flop.
Check, check. And then I would bet small with aces.
Good. And small, just define
Small
the size of
meaning
small. Let's be specific.
30%,
Okay, sounds good. But
33%.
that happens instead.
Good Lord.
Now,
Hello, can you hear me?
this guy has aces. We think this is a terrible play, right?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, this is horrible. I mean, what also, I mean, I think of the king as being so much part of the low jack's range here.
Great. Okay. So Tura, he bets out. What do you want to do with aces?
Just call.
Okay.
I would fast play at some frequency multi-way. I would call if this was heads up,
Okay.
but I think you're motivated to, I think generally slow plays are a lot less frequent when you're multi-way.
Okay. There we go. All right, Mike. And I, by the way, if it were me here with the ace of clubs, I would just call. I don't know that it's better, but I know it's what I would do.
Okay, I could see it with
From
the ace clubs.
from my experience, when they dunk, they normally have nothing or
Yeah.
something weak.
Right. And I don't know
Rarely,
about it.
rarely they have something strong.
Mhm.
And you also are in position, right? You've got ultimate position here, multi-way, which
Yeah.
is good, but I can't get away from wanting to deny equity multi-way with
Right.
a fragile equity hand.
Right. Although Larry, the thing that you're used to, that thing you always point out about look at the equity heads up compared to multi-way. I want to, look at how much equity we give up. That tends to be pre-flop. Once the flop comes, a bunch of that equity gets realized.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
And another way to put it is, yes, you'd like to get a flush draw to fold, but flush draws aren't folding. But what is folding is a bunch of stuff here that's much weaker than the flush draw that you don't mind having called.
Well, if you're
But-
going to slow play any ace here, this is the one to do it with the.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but he gets the fold. Mike.
Yeah. All right. So Scotty gets to hog the fish.
Mhm.
The fish is gone now that he busted him.
Right.
We
Except he
get
can come back.
Yeah.
The reason we know he comes back is we have about 20 or 30 more hands at this table. And why would I have stayed?
All right. We got
think-
nines are going to open, and it should fold around. I don't think we even defend ace three off here, so
We don't.
it should fold around. Oh, nines fold, open fold. That's crazy.
Probably walked away from the table. Probably
Yeah,
not.
probably.
Misclick. That's
Once it does, then now the queen jack gets to open, and ace three can defend by calling or three betting. I know I take these low aces and three bet them almost
Good.
pure.
me too against a small blind ace three.
Mm-hmm.
Ace deuce a ton, ace three a lot, ace four a little. Ace five is a check in my world, and then ace six comes back. We'll see what Peak says compared to the wizard. Just to
Most people are just going to call there, but yeah, I think the charts are going to show you a lot of three betting with ace, deuce, three, and four.
Yeah. So Peak's difference, for those of you who've studied GTO Wizard, it looks different because the Wizard has all these at full frequency. Because Peak raises it to 4 instead of 3. Here's a little bit of an adjustment. Lose the ace deuce, but it's still same motion. The low ones have a lot of raising. There's your calls. There's your raises at the top. We expect him to call, right? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. All right.
Hmm.
Fold.
Wow. Look
Wow.
at this. You got the ultra, you got Uber fish and you've got Uber nits at this
Yeah,
table.
that's nitsos. All right. Take another one, Mike, because there was no flop.
Oh, nice. Bonus coverage.
And he's
Looks like,
back. He's back. Our guy is back.
and he posted with a broken stack, 30
Yeah.
big blinds. Hero's fist pumping.
Mhm.
So it should get around to him, and he'll probably just check
Mhm.
his option. See if he raises. Okay, he raises. And now that he raises with his short stack, you should just fold your queen five, I think. I don't think I would defend it even against him.
Okay. Let's
What
see
do
what
you do?
I do.
Yeah. I just think the short stack just kind of takes away a lot of your value with your queen five there.
It does. And the fact that he's really, really wide, he's not really, really wide with his raises. His raise is 11. I might have thought that people, when they post, they defend their post a little wide, but yeah, I think I could let this go.
But I mean, again, we saw what he did. We got to see showdown of the same guy. I don't know, man. It still might be able to defend against him. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So we go check, see what he does. Fold.
Just fold. Yeah. Joey says one thing about this, which is, so I'm talking about how I want to play against this guy, how in a sense I'm building my strategy for this session around this guy. And Joey says, don't bother. He's got 30 big blinds. There's no money there. Don't chase fish who have 30. He doesn't mean leave the table. It just means this guy is not as important. You're making him too important. He only has 30 big blinds. So that's something to keep in mind. But I didn't do that. I played against him. Frank, you get a hand.
Hey, Scotty. Hey, everyone. All right, let's see. I would expect we're kind of six-handed here, so I think table's going to play a little looser, perhaps. I would expect Jack King to raise it. 2.5 is probably fine
Mhm.
for Jack King suited, and I would expect. Well, okay, let's say not expect, but I think GTO here has villain on the button raising quite a bit, maybe like
Mhm.
50-ish% mixing to like 8.5. And that'll force everyone else to fold. And yeah, let's see if that happens first, I guess.
Right. So deuce nine is a terrible hand. He has a VPIP of 39 right now. Is deuce nine in a VPIP of 40, or is that too far out?
No, that's too far out.
Yep. Yeah.
Even suited, I would expect that to fold.
Yeah. So that's the model we want to start getting in our head, is how far is that when we see this? Okay, great. So there's your raise. That
Yeah,
that
that
is
seems.
tight.
Is that the same? No, villain
No,
two is
the
yeah,
villain two folded his nines by
nines, yeah.
that was
Yeah,
a
I think
misclick.
that's the same villain that folded the ace in the big blind to a small blind.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But we didn't see that. We don't know that.
Yeah, it's a little nitty, I think. I mean, I guess if, it's funny because Villain 7 is only raising 7%, which actually is not GTO. And I wonder if you're only raising 7%, whether or not folding King Queen offsuit is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
I would imagine it is, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give him that range, maybe. Plus, just so you know, these numbers here, this is a guy whose three bet is 2%, and this means calling a raise. That's what that number is. So this VPIP of 17 breaks down to calling raises 9% of the time and three betting 2%.
Oh, yeah.
So
Nice.
with that, that's what to get numbers these low, you fold king queen.
I know we're looking at these numbers in an absolute sense right now, but we don't have very many hands on anybody to really rely on it. But
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike.
But this is 100. Yes, but when the numbers get out of line, 100 is a lot. We have 100 hands on him. We have 82 hands on him. He's going to play like these numbers. You don't get a number this high in 82 hands by getting lucky with cards very often. This does say your play. So, this guy's V of 7 at 15 tells you almost nothing, right? This 17, 14, these are kind of reasonable-ish. I think he's going to play tight. I think we're going to watch his hands and go, wow, that was a little tight. And this guy's going to be opening a little loose, even though it's even though the numbers are this small. It's you can't tell the difference between a 20 and a 30 in these short numbers, but I think you can tell the difference between a 40 and a 10. I think. Anyway, we've said that. Sevens has to defend.
Yeah, now sevens has to defend. I think just a pure call here in these positions
Yeah.
is fine.
There's,
Yeah.
there's a sliver of three betting, but I don't even know if Wizards has. Yep. So there we go.
All right. And so now I would expect it. So it'd be standard for it to just go check, bet, fold here.
Yeah.
I can also see villain two potentially peeling a little bit here, especially if that bet size were a little smaller. But once you get that chunky five bet in there, five big blinds, I would just fold. So
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the right play. All right, Dean.
The Deanster, Deanorama, Dynamite.
Jack eight open. 7-8 defend.
And should 7-8 defend? By the way, of course he's going to defend. Of course he is. Should he?
I don't know. No.
No. Fold all that
7-8
off.
suited.
Fold. Yeah, 7-8 suited, of course. And 7-8 suited can defend by raising here. But
So I mean 30 big blinds, yeah, you can defend.
so so Dean, what is the worst offsuit hand that you want to defend against the cutoff with? What's the bottom of your calling range there?
Maybe like 9-10.
I think
10
Jack.
jack.
I think Jack 10. Let's take a look. Let's see what how the wizard likes to do it at this size. Raise and the big blind. Yeah. Offsuit tens mixing folds. All right. Against the three. So that's that's a nice heuristic. Okay. So he defends. We knew he was going to defend. That was easy. Yep.
Check, bet. Call. No.
Yeah, good. He folded that.
Super passes, just
He needed the ace.
loose
Yeah.
passes.
All right. Larry.
Morning, everyone. Hero gets to play a hand. Big blind gets to defend.
Right. But before the big blind defends, what's going to happen?
We're gonna
Small
have
blind.
a flat from villain six.
Hells yeah, we are.
Villain seven is much more interested in set money now, so he should
Is a good set line. Yeah.
call. Good flop for hand. I'm not sure for range. Should go check to the original aggressor, our hero, who then is playing in position multi-way. With a hand that I think deserves a small bet.
What does small mean in this context?
I
Number of
think it
big
means
blinds?
about a third or 25%.
Good.
25% or 33% is what I would use.
Good. Okay. And because when we play live, we can't bet 30%. And sometimes our buttons when we play online don't have that number. Let's get in the habit of saying the number of big blinds we bet, not the percent of the pot. Just because that's what we're going to have to do physically. But yeah, so
Okay, that's a good idea.
yep, there we go.
So I would, yeah, I'd bet $2. I would bet $3 here.
Okay.
And twos should fold.
Yep, they should.
Twos are stubborn. Okay, this is gonna get interesting. I don't think he has, so the 10 is not a wonderful card for us here.
No, it's
Villain seven should check.
does villain 7 have any donks here? Any turn?
In
There's not-
theory?
Yeah.
Good question. I don't think so because I think tens are shared too much between the ranges.
Okay.
I think you would see some donks maybe with the repeat four non-club, but I don't think you would as much with a repeat 10 where both ranges
The thing is,
10x.
The cutoff doesn't bet many 10x.
Yeah,
Doesn't,
think-
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. He's not betting his hand here on flop. He's betting his range. So he's got some 10x.
So I think
Not buying,
here
this is out the door anyway, because it's multi-way.
so we're not gonna be able to solve it because it was multi-way, but the idea behind it, if we look at it heads up, I think this 10 favors villain 7. I think this favors the big blind because the villain 7 check called 100% of his 10s and hero didn't bet all of his 10s. So
And
that's
also,
what,
yeah, that's fair.
but with his deuces, but he doesn't do it. And
So I think your options here are to non-polarized bet or to check. I think either are fine. I think you could bet a third again,
Mhm.
or you could check back. I kind of like check back because people attack it.
Me
But
too.
I think it's very villain dependent. I would either not give up the betting line and bet small, even though you're opening yourself to a check raise, or check back.
I like the check back here for Larry's reasons, and I like the check back more when I have the club to block the clubs from coming in when he
Yeah.
rarely has it in this
That's
line.
fair.
Yeah, so maybe check back with the club and bet without the club, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. So now we're hoping to bluff catch. Let's see what villain 7 does. If I was villain 7, well, okay, so villain 7 is making a fine play here.
Yeah.
He's at bottom of range. You got a cap range, and this is a clear bluff catch, and we're never folding.
never folding and never raising.
Correct.
No reason to raise here. Yep, good things happen. All right, just to see the thing we said here. So this was a cutoff raise. We're playing it differently. This is a different hand. This is not multi-way, but big blind calls. Of course they do. That's great with their deuces. Queen 4 of clubs, 10 of hearts. Queen 4 of clubs, 10 of hearts. Peak has done the simplification that maybe we all are going to start doing with this. Peak has taken almost all the flops where you majority check and turned them into range check, saying
I don't know if it has dunks on any
it does.
street.
I've
It does?
seen,
Okay.
I have seen
Okay,
it.
cool. All right.
But it's the majorly donk boards that it does it. All the ones that mostly check, Peak simplifies and goes range check.
But it
which-
does, we'll have dunks on a dramatically equity shifting turn of river, is what you're saying.
Yes. And we will also have donks on some flops.
You have seen dunks on flops.
I have seen donks on flops, yes.
Can
know,
you
we'll
show
put
us
up-
after this hand?
Yeah, we'll try to find one. But anyway, he checks. Here we are with our king, queen, betting it.
So we're highly polarized here, right? So if we had like a range versus range
Yeah.
display, it'd be interesting to look at, but
Yeah, we
I
don't have
don't know why it loves big bet here
that.
on this texture.
because it connects well with his range as well.
He has a lot of things he can call that we're better than.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah, looking here, when we get the king, queen off suit, just looking really quick, what do we see of our,
Also, it's not multi-way, Barry. So I really like the smaller bet multi.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's always a small bet, multi-way. With the king of clubs, do we care? We don't care that much about the suit difference. But we are willing to check back more when we have the king of clubs. That's what we do see. And we said that when we have the king of clubs, we're going to bet it. So we bet, and we bet the small size because of it was multi-way. So we're just going to choose the small size line there. When we do that, he stays in with all this stuff. His twos mix. He basically folds without a club. That's the lesson to learn here. If you haven't learned this lesson already, is that for all these calls, you have to have a club.
That's 3%. You
Yep.
want the 3%? Give me my $3.
Yep, you need that 3%, and you need it not just because you might get a club you might go club, and you might win with your shitty club, but mainly because half your set outs are dirty if you don't have a club. That's what it really is.
I
So
never
he
thought
called.
about it that way, but that's a good point, Scott.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, yeah, no, Larry, that's the driving force. The
I never,
driving
yeah, I
force
never really
is,
thought about it that way.
yeah, you're drawing to 2 outs and one of them might not be good if you don't
But
have a.
now they're clean. I never, yeah, makes
That's
sense.
yeah, that's the critical thing on these small pairs. And you should play that way. It's that extreme that it's not, that's not just solver theory. That's real poker. I
See,
believe.
this is why I pay you all this money to attend these sessions. So
Totally worth.
I
Totally
get
worth.
these nuggets of knowledge.
Okay, his 10 that came in was the offsuit 10 of diamonds. All right. So 10 of diamonds comes in. And now the wizard, peak doesn't give you any bets, any donks here. So it didn't take them.
Yeah, so I'm curious what you're gonna do with range in this. Yeah, so you're gonna continue betting at some frequency, which is
Yeah.
fine, I think. What's your queen off, right?
Yeah, I'm king queen off.
And
And
does it size down? It does, no, not really.
it
Yeah,
likes
it doesn't,
6.3.
and we bet, so we bet small. It doesn't, it just continues to polarize. Yeah, whatevs. I
But the
I
thing we
don't
notice
know.
here, yeah, but the one thing we do notice here, Larry, is once
Mhm.
again, the version of the king queen that checks the most is the one with a club.
Protecting from the flush coming in,
Plus
which
coming
yeah,
in,
makes sense.
and he has it. Yeah. So if you simplified this and you wanted to, you could simplify this to bet all your king queen and just screw this.
So
Or
checking is fine here, right? Is what we're
yeah,
seeing.
yes, yeah,
Checking is actually preferred with the king of clubs.
yeah. And if I wanted to simplify this in mind, I would bet 100% all of the ones without a club and check 100% all the ones with a club and
Yeah, I
get the
think that's the
same
right way to do it.
get the same ratio there.
Yeah, yeah. Buck frequencies.
Yeah, yeah. You get the same global frequency, and you
Yeah, exactly.
don't have to think about how many times did I do it. Okay, good. There's our check, and then we move on. All right,
Can we see if he's supposed to bluff this combo?
sure.
So if
So
you
we
check
So we check.
and we get,
Here he is on the river with a blank of blanks, the 3 of spades.
so he's gonna have bluffs. Let's yeah, I don't think he's not supposed to bluff. Well, I guess he does a little bit, but I don't really see much bluffing going on with the under
Right.
pairs.
Yeah,
He's got
It's-
just the shit. I mean, he's gonna have bluffs, so we can't hand class here. So like ace 10,
yeah.
like jack 8 is a really good bluff here. Queen, like that's not a bluff. Like 9-6 is doing funky stuff.
I don't think 7s are a bluff.
Well, look at
No,
the
it's
equity,
a
change
value
it to the
bet.
equity view.
Okay,
We change it to the equity view and we'll see if it's over 50%, then
okay. Where's my
it's up here. Go to the right. Yeah, there. Kick.
So
I
Right
think
there.
there, I see it. I see it.
it blocks bet to get called by
Equity.
an ace.
Yeah,
So it looks like that's
Lower
what, like
pairs.
59%?
yeah.
So that's
These
a
are-
value bet.
These are value bets.
I think generally anything over 50% is considered a value bet.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right.
It does make sense because we're supposed to be able to call by worse half the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
So it doesn't bluff the deuces, 5s, and 6s, and they're not good enough to bet for value. 6 is where it starts being good enough to bet for value, for thin value. So the bluffs are worse than deuces and 4s.
yeah.
The bluffs
Like the-
are,
So he's gonna have so many busted FDs.
Yeah.
And he probably has plenty of bluffs to choose from that region, then he doesn't need to use the under pairs.
exactly, right here. Gentlemen, I give you bluffs. Here are your bluff. Here's your bluffs. Your jack 8.
9-6.
Not, things that have no chance.
9-7.
Deuces can win sometimes.
Yeah.
Ace 4 can win sometimes. Even ace 9. But these have no chance. So that's your bluffs. That
And
was
ace deuce is a bluff.
All right. Did everybody go? Dean, did you get one? Or did you get here late? Oh, Dean got one.
Yeah, I
Okay,
got
so
one.
it's
You got one.
back on me.
We
right.
lost Melanie though.
Oh, too bad. All right. King 4 opens and it should fold around. 4 deuce will not defend even with his numbers. Ace 4 will. defend.
Melanie's still here, actually.
Okay.
Melanie hasn't gone.
Oh, okay. Melanie.
Hi, I'm just super silent.
Okay. I didn't see that. There's Melanie. She now appears on my screen. All right. Melanie, you're gonna get the next one just because I started this one. So after this
Sure.
one, just jam through this thing here. Right. So, ace four suited. Ace four suited could be a 3-bet here against it, and in our world, not a call. I expect him to call. King five will fold. So there's the raise, there's the fold. I expect him to call. He should 3-bet sometimes. There's the call. King five needs to fold. He does. And now ace four needs to check. I have a diamond, therefore I'm going to bet. I'm going to bet small. Bet small. Ace four has to fold. He does. All right. Melanie is your next one. And I probably wouldn't bet this if it was king four of hearts. I'm probably not that crazy. All right.
Okay. It should actually fall to the big blind.
Should, yeah. But it won't because this guy has a VPIP of 40. So what is he going to do with Jack 3?
He's going to raise to 3 big blinds.
He also has an open limp of 26. What's he going to do with Jack 3?
Then he's going to limp probably.
Damn right. Okay, good.
So villain 7 should fold.
Mhm.
The small blind should fold. And if the hero has been attentive what villain 6 is doing, then they might defend. Oh, they don't have to defend, they just check.
Right. Right. And now, knowing that villain 6's range is too wide, how are you thinking in the big blind about your adjustments with different hand classes? How are you exploiting the fact that he's doing two things wrong? He's limping and letting you see a flop, but he's also in with too wide a range. So what are you thinking about in the big blind there?
I'm thinking that people who limp like to limp with cards that flop well, but that they would throw away against the 3-bet. Which means that if I have unsuited cards, even up to maybe king check off, I would probably 3-bet. And if I myself have something like ace 2 suited, I would probably just check and try to make more money on the flop and the turn and the river.
Okay. Great. All right. So I check. My thought here for just a second is when I have a hand like king deuce, I go, this is probably ahead of his range, but his real crime is letting me see a flop with king deuce. I get to realize my 50, some of my equity that normally just folded away. So I exploit him by the very fact that I get to see this. Maybe I can exploit him more at king deuce by raising him, but I'm with Melanie. I'm gonna put this raise here around. You said king jack. I'm gonna put it at king 10. I'm gonna raise king 10 here, and I might even raise king 9 off here. I might.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do that. Yeah, might raise king 9 off, but definitely king 10, and you're at king jack. So there we go.
Good. Now, the hero could check.
Yeah.
There's not
Yeah.
much there yet.
Yeah. And let's just see if he does, and look at how he doesn't even punish me.
Yeah, he will probably check behind.
He did. That's great.
I think at this point we could try and bet and see whether we get a fold.
I like it. What size?
It needs to be big enough to push out any hard flush draws, which is why I would either make it half pot or even higher than that.
Okay. So I think you're not going to push out heart flush draws without betting something like 4 times the pot or all in. Literally. I think
Okay.
he calls, I think the flush draws call relatively big bets because he's in position on the river. And I think guys who limp don't fold their flush draws a lot.
That's right.
So I think what you want to do is you go against a flush draw, I'm in trouble. That's fine. But I can get better kings to fold. You can get king queen to fold here. What size do you need to bet to get king queen to fold?
Pot.
Pot, 2, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's wrong with you, Scotty? Oh, I hate this.
And yeah.
Well played, Melanie. Badly played, Scotty. Oh, bad. All right. Tura is next.
Ace queen off should open and aces should three bet
Mhm.
to 6.5,
Yep. 6.5, 7, 7.5. Sure.
and it should fold on the blinds.
Right. Here's a little exploit here. Because this guy is splitting his range, because he has a limping range and a raising range, that strengthens his raising range, right?
Yeah.
Because his raising range is strengthened, this guy is justified to go bigger because he's going to get way fewer folds against this guy's raising range. So him pushing it
Yeah.
up to 7.5 is a really good exploit because this guy doesn't fold. In fact,
Easy call now.
yeah, there you go. And the guy got a straight, flopped a straight, which is
Sure.
great for us.
Yep.
Because now, even though Joey said we should ignore him at 30 big blinds, he now has 60, and that's good.
Now he got your attention.
Yes, he has 60 big blinds, which is good, and he's happy, which is also good. So next up is Mike.
Alrighty. Fold, open the king jack and should take it. Will
Right.
queen nine limp? I don't know. He shouldn't,
you do.
but let's see what he does.
No, you know two reasons why he's definitely in this hand, I believe.
Yeah, but
One,
is he gonna limp or is he gonna raise? That I don't know.
he's gonna limp.
He's
Uh,
running hot.
And he's gonna limp because he likes to play hands, but also he just won. He's playing the next hand if he can. He's happy. That's
There's
what
the limp. All right, let's ISO 4.5. He goes 3, fine, a little small, but he does it.
Yep.
And of course he's gonna call.
Right.
And let's see, probably gonna go check. Now, probably, I mean, his range is so wide. I mean, our king jack suited is not terrible here, like even to show down, but I mean, yeah, I mean, we got the back door. Like I said, our hand is actually really good. So I think you could either check or bet. Probably better just to bet small here.
Right. So now with that, that makes sense if this is there any adjustment we make against this specific player with king jack? Do we want to be more likely to bet it or less likely? Based on our model of this guy.
I don't know. I think maybe even less likely with our hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Our hand is the best so often when he misses, and he hits this so much more than we do with his actual range. But
He
he
goes
decided,
big. I mean, he should fold. So
I don't think
I don't even think he's going to call.
I think this is going to work. I think he's going to get the fold. No,
Mhm.
the rare float from out of position.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay. So see the turn here. That'll determine a lot of things. So it should go check. And now that he's called that big bet like this, I mean, I think we just check behind now. If it was a small bet where we keep his range wide and he has still hands, I mean, he shouldn't even have queen nine to a small bet, but he can have a lot of other hands that we could bet now to get folds from, better hands even. But now we got to check.
Yeah.
I don't think this spade here gives us any reason to bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he just forces out. Oh my God.
Yeah, I feel like this guy just doesn't even know like how to play poker. I think he's literally just like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah. He's certainly on happy tilt. And right now, villain 7 is shitting himself. There you go.
All right.
Jam.
If he checks, yeah, I would just put it all in now. I mean, you get paid by any ace, you get, yeah.
Yeah,
And he's,
jam. Jam, good jam. Yep. Made way too much money on that hand. So on the turn here, there's that weird thing of, you said, I can't see any reason to bet. And this is, you're bluffing your backdoor, right? On the flop. You have a lot of cards that you don't get to continue on. But the card you do get to continue on is if you had a king, that's good, a jack, that's good, and a spade, that's good. So that might be a reason to continue. And then the same thing is, or realize your equity. He has so much equity he didn't know, because he didn't know that when it goes check, check on the river, he wins. Because if he gives up on a blank here, he actually wins, which is going to shock him. All right. That's Mike. Frank.
All right. All right. So, I guess that's, we're six-handed still. Okay. So, low jack raises to 2 or 5. Okay, great. And
If you
then
wanted- Oh, go on.
what were you saying something, Tur?
I was just going to say, if you want to know what these oversized bets, that are just out of the blue, someone who's been betting 2.5 and 3 and 2.5, and all of a sudden bets 5, you're going to see a lot of ace king, a lot of pocket jacks.
Okay.
People don't know how to, because those are the hands people don't know how to play after the flop, so they don't want to flop.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And queens, tens get in there, but those are the hands. Usually not suited, more offsuit. Okay, so he does
Okay.
that.
Yeah. So, villain 1, I think if I were in villain 1's shoes, I would be thinking about flatting here. I don't think I would want to reopen by 3-betting, but I think a fold here is also okay, given that you're way out of position against like I guess overfolding here is fine. And this would be kind of a slight overfold. So I'm not sure what villain 1's going to do.
Okay, I got a
Folding
question
seems
for you about your strategy here. So first of all, in general, do you have any flatting range in this position against a normal size bet from a normal opponent here? Just your sort of general strategy. Are you 3-bet or fold here, or do you have a flatting range?
when I'm playing six-handed, I don't really have a flatting range. I'm usually 3-bet or fold from this position against regs.
Right. Okay, great. So now, if you're in your 3-bet or fold mode, this king queen against a normal size bet is clearly a 3-bet, right? It's like,
Absolutely. If this
Yeah.
was like 2, I'm 3-betting here to 6 100% of the time.
this
exactly,
is such a weird spot.
right.
I
So
completely
that's what
agree.
makes. So we're all on the same page that in a normal world, this king queen is a 3-bet, and against this 5, you're off the charts. And so your thought is, yeah, I think I'll call. This flops really well, and I'm in position against him.
Yeah, I think you could also take into consideration how frequently you're getting 3-bet on this table. And
Yeah.
if people are going to get real like squeeze happy, you could fold it. You could potentially just throw it away and not call here against a fish. Yeah.
Right.
Can I ask
And
Mike, sorry, Scotty. Mike, do you have the fancy charts which show us what to do with king queen in this position?
Oh
to a
yeah.
5 big blind RFI? Am I-
Yeah.
The
Oh yeah. Let's
ID,
look at that. That'll be great.
is that all right?
Yeah, let me pull it up. Go ahead, keep going.
And while you're pulling that up, let's take a look at that question you had here. So this asshole here has a decent 3-bet frequency of 14.
Yeah.
0, 20, 7,
7.
and 0. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would not feel that I'm at a table that never 3-bets with these two jerks. So there's some 3-betting going on.
Yeah, so folding here is fine. And if you're willing to call and see a flop with this person, I think both are justified here.
I don't think I think this hand can win stacks. I think I couldn't get away from flatting this,
Mm.
but I know in theory that's not the case. I think in theory what Mike's going to show us is that you 3-bet here.
Yeah. I think in game, I make the mistake in flat here, and I think it's not good.
It's hard not to flat this hand. This is such a weird spot though.
I love this guy.
He's more disciplined than me.
This guy is the best player at the table.
It's fantastic. Great fold.
All right.
And villain 2 here should um uh so in GTO world you can mix here and you can probably flat like 30%-ish. I think against villain 7, I would be even more likely to flat here because he has a 14% open range. And he also has a limping range, it looks like, with 11% of his limps. So, which means that his opening range is strengthened. So I think flatting is good here. I think if you are going to 3-bet, you can make it 12-ish, and see what happens.
Okay. I agree. One small thing on that, which is this 11 is probably not an 11% opening range. This is probably his response to this guy's way wide limps. These are probably limps after limps.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah. So there. I would look at this open of 5 and decide that my response to this should be the bigger he opens, the less we should call and the more we should fold and raise. And so I would go, well, this has got to be in the raising range. So I would put this in a 3-bet. And the one thing I would think against it, I would go is, if I call this guy's going to call a 5 big blind raise in position, out of position to both of us with way too wide. So it brings him in. But do I want to bring him in with ace king offsuit?
Really?
I don't know. That would be the one reason I would think of calling. All right. Show us what you got, Mike. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see it.
So there it is. There's the hijack range versus a low jack 5x.
No calls. I love that.
Yeah, no calls. That goes all the way down here. I think you're going to find that not even the button is going to have calls. I think, are they going to have any? Yeah, they'll have a little bit, but way fewer calls than like if it's just a 2.5x.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick?
Yeah.
And
So
look at big blind calling range.
I love this. This is so good to see. Yes, you were saying, Larry.
I'm just curious if I should implement this live. Now, live, my ranges are going to be different because this is with a usurious, if you would, rake, 10%. Chippy V probably is a little different, but I mean, 5x, $10 RFIs are super common.
Yeah. And so one thing I think we need to know when we're looking at this, this defense here, where we're 3-betting like this, that's versus an opponent who knows how, who knows what ranges to use with a 5x. So
Right.
look at all this. Like, you think the guy that in our hand here with Scotty's hand is doing this with all of these hands? No, it's probably more like up in here, maybe even not even aces and kings. It's just like Scotty said, it's like ace, king, and jacks and pocket tens, things that they know are good hands, but God, I don't want to see a flop with them. Holy shit. They would never do it. They don't do that with this stuff. So this range is based on somebody who knows these ranges and is always raising 5x with their whole range. And then we see this defense like this. So I think if you got a guy in the low jack who's only doing it with those really good hands, I don't think we 3-bet them with our king queen suited. I don't know if that would be correct.
Yeah.
So I think all that's true. And I would also add that when this becomes their regular size, so if you're playing at a table where their regular open size is 5x, your best play against them is to tighten way up, throw away a bunch of hands that you would normally call, and almost go to a 3-better fold. You're going to change what your 3-better fold is because their range is going to be slightly different than this. But it's just a round of blinds is so cheap to you compared to any one hand if they're going to open to 10x, I mean to 5x. So I think there's the other thing is I think you should go to a 3-better fold strategy, the bigger their standard open size is, but it's just going to be a tighter one than this. if they are splitting their range. So that's our question is this a live game like yours where the range are 5x opens, in which case then it
It's
is gonna be
definitely, there are 5x opens, but instead of early position, what, he's probably opening 15% of hands here. It's probably 40%, maybe 30%.
yeah, then yeah, I would be playing very much a 3-better fold strategy there and probably around what that hijack is. But if
So
this
I think it's better too,
range for
because
size,
I mean,
then
the
it's
worst
different.
thing you can do live is go multi-way, right? Which is happens essentially the majority of hands are multi-way.
Anyway, yes.
And I think my thought now is that you need to invest up front in order to encourage a heads up hand.
Yep. All right. All right, so we're back on this hand, and this is Tora's hand, I believe. Is that who's doing it?
No,
Let me
it's me.
Oh, it's Frank's hand. Okay, let me go back and give this back to you, Frank. There. There's the hand. And what he actually does is call.
All right, so he calls, and clearly we should be 3-betting here. And the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking that villain 7 is not scared here. He's probably just trying to ISO villain 6 with his
Ooh.
ace king suited. And I really do like villain 1's 3-bet with king queen suited if that's the case. Even though I don't think villain 7's range is 11%, it's probably closer to like 5% opens here. With this kind of strength.
Yeah.
But a fold is also fine. All right, so we flat. It's going to go fold call, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a call here with Jack 9.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going. Yeah,
Yeah.
we know that. Yes.
So taking it to the flop. All right, so villain 6 here might donk. I'm not sure if he's a donker, but I wouldn't be surprised. If he checks, villain 7 should definitely check, and so should villain 2. Okay, check.
Yep.
Check. Yep. And then on the turn, villain 6 here. I'm not sure what he should do. I think a check here is okay. I think a bet here is fine. He could probably mix and take it down. But it will get dicey on the river. Especially since there's probably a lot of pairs in villain 2's range, and maybe even some suited connectors. So yeah, I don't know what villain 6 is going to do. Probably check again, and it should go check.
If villain 6 had to make a decision where he wanted to do this some of the time and not some of the time, you know, that was if he had a mixed strategy here, what should a single club in his hand do? Push it towards the check side or push it towards the bet side?
I would imagine it's more towards the bet size.
And I would imagine it's more to the check side because your opponents don't have club draws here very often because one of them might have bet them. But when they do, and you have a club, it is safer for you to check here because you block the flush from coming in. So if you have Jack 9 of spades here for some reason, like let's give him a suited hand, why he called in the first place. Jack 9 of spades is probably the best hand, but a club comes more often on the river and he's fucked. Jack 9, with the Jack of clubs here, not only does when the other guy has 2 clubs, it comes in less often. And when it comes in, they have it less often. So that's why the club protects you. So if you're not doing it 100% of the time or 0% of the time, and you don't have a physical read on him, might as well use the club as your read. All right. So he bets.
Okay.
And
fold.
they have to fold.
Oh, okay.
They have to
Call.
fold. This is easy for him now. This is trivial.
Villain 2 is an easy
Villain
fold.
2. Yeah, villain 2 is great.
And the river comes out the 8, bringing a 1 card straight with a 6. And villain 6 here probably shouldn't be turning his hand into a bluff. And if he checks, I wonder if he's going to bluff catch. So let's see what happens. So I would check here. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Block bet. Fold.
Block
Yeah.
bets. Block bet fold. And if he gets called here, he's almost always not good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's always going to be like maybe ace jack or 2 pair or better here if he
Yeah.
gets called. Yeah.
I mean, maybe tens. Maybe tens. I'm wrong. No, he could get called by tens here.
Tens.
This guy opens pocket tens this size.
Mm-hmm. Calls
Less
a
than a ten,
turn.
calls a turn. Here comes the river. He's beaten by a 6. He's beaten by a jack, but he knows this guy's wide. He might get called by tens.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Tens or nines. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good, he could go to bluff catch mode or value bet it. Yeah, but his size was right because his size makes tens unhappy, and that's good. All right.
Mm-hmm. Really good size by villain 6 to block.
And he could also go a little smaller if he wanted. Anywhere from 25 to 30 is good. All right, Dean.
King 10 open. Oh, no.
Should, but that's how tight. That's how tight a 13 is.
Jack 7's not folding half a big blind.
Yeah, this is my wife right here. I saw her. She folded Jack 10 in the cutoff a couple days ago, and I was sitting over her shoulder, and I try not to say anything because I would like to stay married, but you could feel my whole body tensed up, and she just looked at me. She goes, "I know." All right, here we go.
Yep, he's not folding.
And do you think he's raising or calling, given your model of him?
Just calling.
Yeah. He is telegraphing his bets, his hand strength with his bets.
I would raise. I'd probably try to mess around with like 8-6 and just crappy stuff, like just because of that too.
Yeah.
And then you can just widen your range, you widen your betting range to whatever, pretty much.
Yep. This crazy chart here, the how do you respond to a small blind limp, the insanity thereof. Hold on. Here we go. You know, this crazy chart here, that while 8-6 never does it, 9-6 does and 8-5 doesn't. So who cares? And then you go to a guy who is already,
Telegraphing, like you said,
Yeah. Who's over? What's the word? What's the verb I'm looking for? Not segmenting his range, separating his range, dividing his range. What's
Splitting.
splitting? Thank
range.
you. English is not my first language. To a guy who's already splitting his range, yeah, widening your raising here makes sense. Now we also know that he calls really wide, but he ends up calling really wide with a range he can't defend. But this guy just does this, which can't be wrong. Can't be wrong.
Not.
Yep. In this tiny pot.
You could probably check, and then 8-6 will be, I don't know, 18 passive too. They'll probably check.
This seems like a really good
Both
hand.
passive.
This seems like a really good time to bluff. Just bluff range.
If you were Jack 7?
No, 8-6.
Oh, yeah.
His initial action says he doesn't have an ace or a king. His second action says he doesn't have an ace or a king. He doesn't have an ace or a king.
Yeah.
That's
throw,
double
like, the
barrel.
big blind out.
Yeah. Yeah, bet him. Yeah.
Surprised he folded too. He's kind of sticky sometimes.
He's been really sticky, but yeah. Okay. Larry.
All right, so hero gets to open king queen.
Yay.
King 5 is a pure fold.
King 5 is a common 3-bet here. Let's all learn that. Just
Is
to
it?
it's in the Magic Solver land. Let's just learn it and then move on. This is low jack. This is hijack versus low jack. This is in, I know it's in the Wizard. We'll see if it's in poker coaching. I bet it is. There it is. Look at it.
Okay.
Look at it all snaggle-toothed and raisy. So this is just the little pattern of those raises to learn. Ace 5, ace 4, king 5. This is relatively consistent as your 3-bets. All right. Good. He's not gonna do it under any circumstances ever for the rest of his life.
Yeah, fours are kind of an interesting case here. I mean, I would set mine here, which is naughty at some frequency, depending on the aggressivity, if that is a word, of the people behind me.
Yeah.
Generally, I'm going to set mine here.
Depending on their 3-bettedness. And if you look at their numbers, which you might have access to if you're playing online, but you still have that feel, ain't a lot of 3-bet in here. These are the 3-betters, these two assholes. So,
To use a technical term. Yeah, generally I'm gonna set mine here. I think set mining is.
Yeah.
This is one thing Joey and I disagreed with, but I think set mining here is of value, especially if you expect flats behind.
Yeah.
Not as much with the short stack, but whatevs.
right. Right. And this guy is going to,
I hope he folds this.
he's not going to. He's calling this. We know that. That you don't get to 43 by folding this.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That-
Jack
and
10's pure
That's
fold.
my and that's my refrain that I always say. We don't have that many hands. I go, yeah, but you don't get to 43.
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, you got a good point.
Yeah.
Queen nine is not a defend here multi-way. You want to defend it. It looks really pretty in some ways, but I would defend. I think I wouldn't defend a suited gapper here. I think I would defend a suited connector.
I would defend queen nine. I don't know if it's right. So that's a good thing to know. So low jack raise. This was cutoff call, button call, big blind, queen nine suited. You're right. I'm wrong.
Doesn't even like suited connectors here. I would defend Jack 10 through 7-6. Can't be that bad.
Yeah. Now, with a single one, yeah, that second call and putting you out of position to 3 players just cripples you. You are just,
You're gonna have kicker issues often.
everything is bad. Yeah. I mean, look at this. Jeez.
Yeah, I defend a little wider
I
here.
would-
I'm
I
gonna
would-
defend suited connector.
I would have, before I saw this, make the mistake of defending all these. I would defend all these 100% of the time. And I think I shouldn't. I think
Maybe the
GT
way to think about it is depending on raise size, right? In reality, we're seeing variable rate sizes.
But are
maybe-
you raising at 6'5", huh?
Well, I'm not gonna find it, but yeah, some people are.
Right. I defy anyone to justify this right over here.
It looks like noise to me.
This is bullshit. Okay, moving back though, but still folding the queen nine seems good. You think this jack 10 is gonna play?
No.
I
Well,
think
do I think it is? What's this? Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think he's going to.
All right, so this is one, let's talk about this. So this is very common live situation. Your king, queen, you could just see how your equity went down. I mean, if we looked at this.
Yeah.
We looked at this, I mean, so all of a sudden, his equity has gone from what was essentially a coin flip against fours to 28% this massively multi-way, right?
Yeah.
So the argument becomes, or maybe it's just pre-flop against all hands, but whatever. The argument becomes, I think live, you gotta start raising. You gotta go to $10 here if you're getting this many flats behind.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 15. You just don't want to have these hands be heads up.
Yep.
I'm sorry, multi-way. You want heads up. So I think you just need to, if you're gonna play this hand, which you are, you need to invest more up front to try to get it heads up.
Meaning you think I should open to more than 2 point, that I should change my opening size?
Well, I'm talking more in live, kind of just reinforcing my own thought process, but in reality, yes. If you are at a table like this, I think it holds. I think you want to go to a bigger RFI size. Your equity's diluted and you're playing out of position in a massive multi-way pot. I think you do want to invest up front. I think you do want to invest to maybe even 5 bigs here.
Okay, so that's an adjustment I'm definitely not making at this table. I'm definitely not making it online ever. And at this table, I think I'm not going to do it because my major thing is this guy. I think this was almost a freak occurrence because this guy had a calling hand that brought it in this crazy.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
maybe-
if this is happening over and over again, and you're seeing it, in other people's
Yeah.
hands.
So let's look at this for the rest of this session. We'll look and see how often I should be raising bigger to not get this to happen.
Yeah,
this
I think the value, I think Bart talks about this a lot, that we just want to be heads up. And to do that, we need to tighten ranges and we need to raise bigger if we're in this kind of pool, if we're at this kind of table.
Great. If this guy folds his queen nine suited here, he is the best player at the table.
He
By
is. Look at this 17-12.
All right, screw that guy.
No, he doesn't want any of this.
Fish, total fish.
What an asshole, to use your technical term.
There we go.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people with king, queen. Let's go to a flop. Not the flop we were looking for. So, yeah, I mean,
Worst.
the blind should check. I know, he's happy. Look at his equity. You should check, good check, fours to check. He's, I don't, this is a really.
You would be
dry
here with
flop.
6-7 suited. You would be, if, as played, if I raised and this guy called and you had 6-7 suited on the button, you'd be calling a lot, right? You actually would. Real life.
Would I?
Yes, I know you.
Okay,
You
I'll live up
don't
to
have
it.
three betters. You don't have three betters behind. You've got position.
I'll own up. I'll own up.
Yeah. Here you are with 6-7, and so I'm going to give you 6-7 of clubs.
Okay, so what am I gonna do here?
That's 6-7 of hearts. You have 6-7 of hearts. What do you want to do?
So, okay, so this is, and I think we have choices here. And our choices are small bet or check. I don't think I want a big bet. I think that's an error. Because it's gonna make it much harder to realize our equity if we get check raised.
Mhm.
I actually think 5 ways. I don't know if and I don't think I get a big bet here.
Nope.
And I think the only size we get to use is small bet.
Mhm.
And I don't know if small bet really does fold anybody out. And we're just going for nutted equity on a rainbow board, which is otherwise disconnected except for our combo. I think I kind of check back here. I'm not really turning this. I don't really think this does much. I think this juices a pot, but we're not going to get as much. I don't know how much this generate folds. I mean, so I don't think the 9, queen 9 might. He's really
This
tight.
guy's got to fold. And
Two
I
backdoors and
don't
two-
have to fold. I don't have to fold, but I'm gonna. This
Yeah.
multi.
So we get this. So this is,
Now-
yeah. So then we get this. So now we're kind of like, so if you do this, you need to get your big boy pants on and get ready to polarize on rivers if you get this heads up.
Mhm.
Yeah, what do you do to king queen here? I'm not really
I
interested
fold.
in
I
king
just,
queen
I
here.
absolutely fold. I invested my 2.5 big blinds, and the flop is not mine.
Yeah, it's full. Okay, so you kind of, maybe this is, well, this time was a good play, right? So he now gets what he wants. He's playing in position with his draw.
Yeah.
Let's go to a turn, sir. Okay, now it gets more interesting. So Jack 10 should check. I think you have 2 options here. One option is to check back with your equity, which I think is fine. And I think your other option is to bet, but not bet crazy big, like bet like half to B75 and then check back most rivers.
Yeah, as long as you're checking the river, then you can bet that bigger size.
Yeah, I think I would probably continue my story and bet 10
Mhm.
and really hate my life if he check raises. I mean, the check raise is just fucking awful here.
Yeah.
But generally, I think we can call depending on size. So I think I'd go to like 10.
Excellent. I check back here. That's
Yeah, I think check back is fine. I think that's a
but
good play.
he's in your mode, but just smaller.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of weird to turn your turned equity into a
Yeah,
bluff, which you're kind of doing. It is,
it-
but
Not really a bluff.
well, I mean,
a
if you get
10,
check,
if you
He beats
polarize
fives.
size, it is.
He beats fives.
I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Let's agree
About a
on.
diamond.
Let's agree on semi bluff.
Yeah, it's a semi bluff.
Okay, he gets. That's really horrible.
That is, oh my God. Unless this guy's donking rivers or check raising rivers, I don't know what he's.
I would have preferred a check raise turn here if he's going to play this.
Oy, oy.
So now he knows what villain 7 does. So if I did what he did, because I was drunk, I would just give up. And now, oh, this is his plan. So this is a very clever idea. I would never find this without it. I'd do this with a spade, but I don't think I'd ever do it without a spade. So
Right,
he's in bluff catch
one
mode
spade,
now.
All right. What? Yeah, one spade is all you need.
He's in bluff catch mode. So let's look first at equity, like the pot odds. So we have to be right 23% of the time, which isn't much.
No.
Let's, so his range definitely does include, I think we have to think about the fact that it's backdoor. So I will go through the betting pattern. I bet small flop, bet small turn. This card generally is not going to touch. Well, what's his? So I would look at his VPIP. I think VPIP is important here.
Mm-hmm.
He does have some random threes and some random sevens. That definitely are in there. And I think we have to call. Too far
I
up in
agree.
range.
But he doesn't.
I don't
He,
think you can fold this hand here. He clicks it. I don't think clicking is going to do you much.
no.
Clicking, so the problem with clicking here is that it's hard to get called by worse and you only get called by
Yeah.
flushes.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
hard to get called by worse and you only get called by better. So I
yeah.
think you call. You
Do you,
call.
and you click your way off a chop? Maybe.
I don't know if I reopen betting here, right? Because when you reopen
I don't.
betting here,
I never do this.
it's just so unpleasant if he shoves over you with this
Yep.
the value of this hand.
So there you go. And now we are really happy.
That was a very interesting hand.
Yeah, I am. Hero is very happy now. All right, Melanie. I give you a deuce 9 against this guy. Ugh.
Okay. Williams. Well, actually, William 5. Could probably start raising.
Yeah.
And Queen 10. If William 5 raises, Queen 10 needs to fold. If William 5 doesn't raise, then William 6 should be raising.
Right. So this is a trivial fold, and therefore what is villain 6 going to do?
Call.
Damn right.
Yeah, William 7 should fold, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Um, he was the pre-flop raiser, so there's the likelihood is high that he's going to continuation bet.
Mhm.
Small, I suppose.
Mhm.
And villain 6 could stick around, but it's not particularly great. I mean,
If villain 5 checks here, especially if he's got a check range strategy out of position, is this one of the hands? First of all, can he fold this hand to a bet? If he
oh,
checks range,
villain,
villain 5.
if villain 5 checks and villain 6 raises him,
Yeah, bets it. Yeah, bets, and he bets small.
bets, yeah.
That's 2 to, somewhere between a third and, a quarter and half pot. First of all, can villain 5 ever fold here with this hand?
He should probably call.
At least. He has direct equity to the basic nuts.
Yeah.
So he's got
I
to
mean, it's a gut shot, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Should he consider check raising here? With this
villain
hand?
6 is the guy who's been in a lot of pots, right? So I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but I guess GTO is probably saying that you should be doing it some portion of the time.
Yeah, I think a gut shot and 2 overs is in the hand class that might be doing some raising here. And since you raise ace 8 offsuit, you might end up here with a hand with 1 diamond. If you had 1 diamond, probably do it more. All right. So what
Mhm.
do you do? He just c-bets. That's fine. He just c-bets.
Villain 6, call.
He does. I think this is I don't think 2 overs is enough. I think you should be folding this.
Yeah,
that-
I would
that
be
call.
folding it.
But I'm not sure about that. We'll look at that class. And
Yeah.
then he is, of course, rewarded because that's how poker works.
Okay. Good. Villain 5. should check. After which villain 6 should bet at least 75% of the pot.
Okay. Does villain 6 have any overbets here? With his, well, actually just with his range. Does he have any overbets in range now? When he bets?
I actually don't know.
I think he doesn't, and we're gonna check that. I think he doesn't because the flush completes.
Okay, yeah.
Completed equity here, now we have more completed equity, so I think his bet size is capped at that his big bet is now the 75 and his small bet is, so he has 50s and 75s here, but
Yeah.
no overbets. That's my prediction. We'll see if that's true. Let's see, what size does he go? He goes 50. I like it.
Okay, yep. Villain 5 should. I mean, if I were villain 5, I would probably fold this because there's just too many diamonds there.
I agree.
Um,
You're drawing to a straight that could easily be, you could easily be already against the nuts. And
exactly. Even if
one
I'm straight.
and one of your cards probably loses for you and you can never bet the 7 of diamonds. I just fold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Hijack versus cutoff. So here's our hijack raise. Luckily, Peak has calls, so we can now analyze these things better. So there's the call, and there's the fold, and we have the beautiful 5, 6 of diamonds, 4 of spades. I learned that from Mike. All right. So here you go. You wanted to see, oh no, these don't count as donks, sorry. So he mostly checks here out of position. And if you simplified this to check range, that would be completely reasonable, right? If you just checked range without thinking here, that'd be fine. Queen 10 can bet even without a flush draw.
That's interesting.
Yeah. As played, we had the bet. And Queen 10, of course, needs a flush draw to continue. And of course, he doesn't have Queen 10 offsuit. So this is an easy fold for him there. But there he is. He had a flush draw. He called. And, oh, did I even look at what, hold on, did I even look at what, whether this was a hand that he, of the hands he bets, where on our hand is king something, but what is our actual hand here? There we go, king 8. So when we have the king 8, it can continue. It's mostly checking, but it can continue, and it doesn't need a flush draw to do it. So that makes sense. There's the bet. We give him a Queen 10 that has a flush draw, which is not what he has. We go, and then we get the Queen of diamonds on the turn. And now we do something that neither you or I saw coming. Look at that. We bet it all the time.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. And when we check and he bets, and he bet half pot-ish. Yeah. Pot was a little bigger. We don't have a half pot here. We do have a closest thing to half is going to be the 7.1. All right. Now we are folding everything that isn't a flush. We are not drawing to any straights here. If we have a straight, we would fold the spade version of the straight here. No, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, we don't have it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're full. It has us. No, that's a call. Sorry. Yeah, so we never have it. Now, the thing we wanted to look at on the flop was when we check and get bet the normal size. Here we go. Fold, fold, fold. The hijack, got to put it in again. And that was 5, 6 of diamonds, 4 spades. When this happens and we choose the check line and he bets small, I don't think we fold any eights. Yeah, there's not an 8 that we fold. And we are looking at check raising that. With diamonds especially, with spades happily, and with the others, sure. So it is enough to check raise. Just the gut shot and the over.
Yeah.
All right, good. Up next is me. Fold, fold, raise. Let's start with what should happen. Fold, fold, raise, blah, 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 3-bet. Deuce 9 suited, he's gonna call. Ace Jack should now ISO to 4.5. We expect him to ISO to 3, if I remember what that guy does. Yep, there's his 3. 3, 4 folds. I am going to 3-bet happily, and I'm going to 3-bet to 12 or 13 or 14. And I'm probably going 14. Yeah, there we go, 14. The correct play here is now fold, fold. We'll see if this guy folds here. Nope, he doesn't fold. And I am not happy right now playing ace queen out of position. And I am not happy. And I am going to bet 10. And I am not happy. I'm going to bet 12. And now I'm happy again. All right, Tura.
He should fold to king 5 suited,
Okay.
and he should open, and queen 10 can defend sometimes, I guess.
Yeah. But he doesn't open, he limps.
Okay. Queen 5 is gonna limp behind, I guess.
No, I'm not.
It's you.
I mean, I'm going to look at it go, and I'm going to think about ISOing it. And then I'm going to go.
And you're not gonna do it.
Then I'm going to look at his V of 50, and I'm going to go, But then I'm going to look at his limping of only 9 and go, fuck it. I could do better. Nope. I go for it. Yay. All right. What's
Queen,
next?
Queen 10 can probably fold now.
Yeah. That's
King 5 suited out fold.
but they don't. So once again, Scotty is not happy.
Check, check. Check, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so too. Yuck.
Check, check, bet.
Damn right. Damn right.
Nice.
Thank you. And that's why they call me Scotty Redline Meltzer. Happy, happy. Mike.
Yes, sir. All right. So what should happen first? Ace 9's too early there. King Jack and the hijacks are open, and they should raise and take it.
Right.
Ace 9. He's probably gonna limp.
Yeah. We know he's not going to fold. That's for sure. We just don't know if this makes his raising range or not. And looking at this number, 12 to 31, what do you think?
Probably limp.
I think so too. I think that's going to be my prediction that this is a limp. Yeah, good. Okay.
All right, hero, if I were there, I would be isolating king jack off here.
Yep.
And it should fold around to ace nine, who should fold, but they won't.
No, no, he didn't limp ace nine to fold.
And should go check. And then, so he donks. I mean, I'm basically just taking the Nuffle strategy at this point right now. And I would just call. Probably could raise here as well. But I'm just following the chart. And depending on what he does, I would be raising to 20. I would be going 3 times his bet plus the
All right.
pot.
Nice. I didn't. Okay.
But calling here, you got some really good equity now, even if you're behind. So calling certainly seems reasonable. And a little bank action should be very nice here.
Mm-hmm.
See what he does. He's probably going to bet
Right.
because he doesn't know he probably shouldn't. So he goes small. He goes really small.
Yeah.
And he's got 66 behind here. Wow. I mean, if we jam, does he, what are we expecting him to fold? Obviously, will he fold? He will never fold 2-pair in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Will he just fold a naked ace? We've seen him be really stationy. Should we get super greedy? Probably.
Okay, cover his cards.
I haven't even been thinking about what he has here. I'm just thinking
now
about
let's
he's
rank-
not going to fold 2-pair. Will
Right.
he call a naked ace, which is what he has.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm thinking about in terms of how often does he call just with 1 pair here?
Yeah.
And we've seen him. It's one thing that we have seen that he's been super stationy. So I think we're best off jamming.
Okay. So I think he is capped at 1 pair here, and I think he has a lot of queens here. Along with some weirdly played flush draw. Because I just don't see this size on the river with 2 pair or better. So I think, I'm almost surprised to see him bet this small with an ace. I think he's capped at a queen, and I need to be called by 1 pair and
Okay, then the question becomes, Scotty, and if you make it what, like 24, whatever it is, something less than all in, is he still calling with a queen? I don't know, probably not, whereas he will call all of his aces maybe. In that case, it just becomes a jam.
yeah.
So you're going to get a fold from a queen regardless, is what I think.
Mm-hmm.
So now you just work on where is his.
I think a queen calls 18 to 20. I think a naked ace calls up to about 24 easily. And then 2 pairs all call jams. So. That's how much value we get. Maybe we could have gotten more. Yeah. Maybe we could have gotten it all. Thinking is pointing out one nice thing here. If he hits either his ace or his 9, I win the hand. If he hits neither of them, I bluff. And I will get to win the hand. So my equity on this turn against, not against his range, but against his hand is 100%. Unless he misses and bluffs. If he misses and bluffs, he can win the hand. That's his only way to win. Okay. That's Mike. Frank. Actually, let's take 1 second here. As a group, what size are you betting on the river here to this exact action against this player? So let's just open that up for a second to everybody.
Can you show his bet sizing? Can you show the,
He bet 6 here.
um,
You get to decide whether you agree with me that he is capped at 1 pair.
Yeah.
Well, I
If it's
think
not capped,
I think I get greedy. I think I go like 40 to
Okay.
50.
all right,
I think you would be surprised how often jam can work.
okay. Good.
Yeah, I'm jamming there, probably a lot.
Okay.
Mostly because his two pair can't get off the hook there.
hmm
10-6 suited, 5-6,
But
ace
Frank,
X.
do you believe he has two pair in his range with these bet sizes? 3 into 10,
Yeah,
5 into
yeah,
16.
I do because he was he was doing that small, funky, mergy bet stuff with his 6-5 stuff. Was it 6-5 offsuit or whatever on the turn when he hit his six?
Yeah, he had a
Um,
6, but it was a 6 and a draw.
it
He
was a
didn't have
6 and a
two pair.
draw. Yeah. And yeah, I mean it's just um I mean I agree with you, Scotty. I think most of his range is capped.
Yeah.
But I think it's the times when you look at the times that he can't get away,
Mhm.
and you get his entire stack, it's so worth it to just go for it.
It's 3 times more money.
Hmm
Yeah,
Because I mean, you agree, right, that he can't get away from two pair or better here,
I agree he can't get away from two pair.
right? And so, um, I guess the question is, are you making more money against his entire range um, by value betting small versus sticking it in against the times that he can't get away?
Yeah. So that's the
Yeah.
question. And my answer is that if he is not going to fold, if he's going to fold all his queens to a jam and none of his aces, then I should jam.
Well, I mean,
If he's going to call any queens to a jam, then I should jam. If he's going to,
I don't know if he's going to call all his aces to a jam.
yeah, but I'm saying that's sort of my dividing line is what is if I believe that an ace calls all of them and a queen folds all of them, then I think I should jam. But if I think that an ace, a naked ace, folds half to a jam and calls this 100% of the time,
Hmm
I think I should not jam.
Yeah,
Mm,
and maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But the thing
Assuming a
is,
queen, by the way, just to answer Mike's question, assuming that a queen calls this size bet. I didn't say that. Now go on, Frank, and then Mike, you come in.
okay, so yeah, because my assumption is that a queen probably doesn't call any raise here, and even to the 24, he might fold some aces. Might.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
isn't sorry. Continue.
one more thing. I don't know if he can get away from ace jack to a jam either. Ace jack,
Word
um,
block.
or yeah, ace 10, ace queen, ace 5, ace 6.
Right.
Hmm
We can range him off of ace jack because of his initial play. We put him on raising his ace jack and calling his ace 9. Pre-flop. That's our model of him. Mike, you
Oh,
were
got it.
yeah, Mike, you
Okay.
were gonna say?
No,
Sorry,
I was just going to comment on when you said if he calls half of his aces and folds the other half and folds all his queens, I think the math works out where the jam is better. I just in my head, I just feel
It,
like the math is going to work out where you jam and he calls half his aces is going to be way better than if you just raise a little bit and get called by all of his aces.
right, but if the question is if the queens call, as I was saying, if all the queens fold and all the aces call, jam. If to this size, all the queens call and all the aces call, then this size is better, even though it's twice, because I don't think he has, I think he has about as many queens here as he has aces.
sorry, isn't this the guy that was floating with Queen 9 off before?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he
I
also
think
did,
he's not folding an ace here.
okay. All right. Good point. Good point. As played, I mean, not as played, up based on his actual holding, jam's better. Yeah. Okay, good. Up next is, that was me. I think who said this? I think the next one is Mike. Is that right? Anybody remember?
Um,
Arturo
that-
usually goes before I do, but
Tura does, yeah, that was me, so the next one is Tura. No, that was you, Mike, because I asked you, I said, you said he folds the ace nine, and you said ace nine's a fold, I said, but this guy's going to, and we'd had
Yep.
that conversation. So it's Frank's up.
all right. Okay. So, fold to hero. Hero's gonna raise it. Okay. Never mind. Okay. So villain 7 limps. Hero is now gonna ISO, and it should fold around to the big blind, who's gonna call. And I don't know what villain 7's doing here, but they should fold. And yeah, I'd be surprised if they call.
Right. I'd be surprised if he folds. Let's see
Okay.
what happens. There we go.
Yeah.
So here's the one thing, this I don't know how useful this is in game, but this is an observation we've made. Limpers don't fold suited hands to ISOs.
Mm,
They just said, good, I got the, they want to see the flop. But I guess what you could say is that, I guess the thing you could put it on is that when you ISO and you go to the flop, that he is weaker in his offsuit branch and stronger, and he has more suited hands. So you should be worried about flush draws more often.
mm,
I think maybe that's the takeaway, but the
Yeah.
observation is limpers don't fold suited hands to single ISOs.
yeah, that's
They
fair.
never, if somebody else comes along. If
Yeah.
their pot odds increase, they call all these. All right.
I guess I'll add one more thing to that,
Yeah.
which is that they're closing the action, which makes them even less likely to fold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
And limpers,
so
and limpers, by
it
the
should
way-
go check, check.
Oh, one other thing, Frank.
Mhm.
And limpers in their own mind are always closing the action, because if he limps and there's a limp behind and then this happens, he sees this guy the same as him. He's not worried about a
Mm.
re-raise, you know.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
He can limp re-raise. The second limper can't limp re-raise in his mind. And also that's commonly true, unless they're a short stack. And then they blasted him with sevens. All right,
Mhm, mhm.
moving on.
All right, so yeah, it's gonna go, well, okay, so check, check. I do not expect pocket fives here to get in there like that on this board. Okay, so bet 3, fold. And now hero has a decision to make, whether or not to just call or re-raise. I like both here on this board, that villain 6 should never be donking. I'd probably mix here between, well, actually, in reality, I'd probably just call here a lot, knowing that his range is really weak. But I really like raising here and making it like 10 often.
Okay.
Okay.
So have you heard of something called Nuffle that we sometimes mention? Is that new to you?
That is new to me. Yeah.
It is a Brad Owen exploit that they got from mass data analysis. We don't study, but we talk about a little bit. And it just includes when they, and it's called neutralize flop leads. And the first step of it is you call all there. You don't raise any of your range against their donk, and things happen on the turn.
Okay.
So, and it's just a simplification that there's more to it. And at some point, either we'll invite Brad here and he'll come and he'll teach us Nuffle. That's not going to happen. Or like that. But as you're thinking more and more about your raises here, you can just have that in the back of your mind that there is an exploit that is calling range here.
So, Scotty,
you can search Brad Wilson Nuffle and you'll get some information about it.
yeah,
Not-
that's good. I'll do
yeah.
that. What do you do with King Queen here, or something like Ace King?
According to Brad Owen and Nuffle, you just call. You call your entire range. Because you get to see what stupid thing they do in the turn. Now, if I have Ace King of Hearts here, I might, I might just thinking specifically about my hand and not about Nuffle raise. I might do that. But also I've seen this guy continue to bet.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he slows down.
Right. Remember, we saw this, we just saw this hand. We were there. We saw his call. We saw his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Bluff the flop with nothing. He bluffed the turn with nothing. So at here, if I had the king, I'd go let him. And when I don't, it's like, well, I might have to bluff the river. So there we go.
Right on.
He bluffs the flop. He bluffs the turn. And his
Yeah.
sizing so transparent for the strength of his hand. Nuffle would raise here, right, Mike?
Yep.
The size? Yeah.
Does Nuffle stand for something? Is it like an acronym?
Neutralize
Yes.
flop leads.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the neutralization is just the call part, I guess.
How do you play against their mistake? It neutralize the effectiveness of their flop lead, of them
And
donking.
it's specifically designed, it's based off of mass data analysis designed around playing against recreational players who do this. You don't take this strategy versus good players who are donking at appropriate levels and that sort of thing. It's specifically around recreational players who are taking this kind of line.
Gotcha. Okay.
And and the fact is, aside from the fact that it's a limped pot, that there was a limp here. If this was just you against the big blind, the big blind has no leads on this board in GTO.
Mm-mm.
So therefore, he is either a high, not just a wreck, he's either the best player in the world who has watched your play and adapted and is overly exploiting your bad play and is so far from GTO because that, or he's or he doesn't know what GTO stands for. He doesn't know what the initials are.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it sounds like when we call the flop here against a fish, you said something about turning your hand into a bluff on the turn. Is that only if they check though?
No, against the small size here, Nuffle bluffs everything.
You would
Yeah.
use the pot plus their bet size for your raise, so you go to 24 bigs in.
Yeah,
Oh.
and there is an add-on, so to speak, versus villains who are doing this with a short stack. So you would deviate from, like, if they had a full stack, there's a whole another sort of flow chart, if you will, to follow when they have a short stack. I can't remember what he started with, but he's probably started with around 45, maybe 50. Start with,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the strategy might differ now than the original Nuffle strategy, but there
I
is still,
assume you'd go smaller against the stack size.
yeah, and there's a lot of like jamming and that sort of thing because of the
Okay.
stack size and
Oh, I
they
see.
play a little differently, but
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, because raising against a short stack here kind of sucks. And calling is good as well, especially
Yeah.
since you have at least 3 outs to the nuts.
Yep. And I'm not playing Nuffle here, just so you know, in my mind, when I call this bet, I'm not saying I call range here to see what he's doing on the turn to make this sizing. I don't know Nuffle. I just know that it exists.
Mhm.
I'm saying to this player, what I saw, ace, straight, gut shot and an over is enough against him, clearly. He bets the 4 against this size, gut shot and an over is enough. I'll see what happens on the river. If he checks and I need to bluff it, I might, we'll see. It was just that.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if I would bluff against this villain who's leading ace 9 offsuit, and your ace high might be good on the river.
Yeah. Yeah. But luckily I get one of the easier cards for me.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's see what size his bet is.
Okay, 4.
And use the 4.
This is interesting. I wouldn't raise here with my ace 10. I'd probably just call.
I'm going to raise, I assume, we'll see what my size is. I'm going to raise, even though it's a 1 pair hand, because I believe that he is capped massively, that betting his betting line, what we've seen him do, he is massively capped. He's capped at a jack here in my mind. And when he hit an ace, my ace was a better ace.
I mean, I
I
agree with you,
agree.
but like, what do you expect him to call with?
All his aces that he hit on all his ace 5, his ace 6. If
Okay.
bet is small enough, then I expect him to call with a king. I mean, that same situation as last hand with the ace and the queen. except I don't have the nuts, you know.
Gotcha. Do you expect him to call with like a king?
I expect him to call with a king
Okay.
to size, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it was a great re-raise.
Right. And I'm not, and if he jams, I'm not folding.
You're not folding.
I'm not folding because his jam is only, 14 more. And it's like, yeah, I'm not folding.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. I mean, this was masterfully played against villain 6.
That went good. All right. We are on to Dean.
Jack King.
Yep. Let's do it.
Oh, it's only 2 big blinds. 10-7. Yeah. Nope. Queen 7 will call, maybe. Yeah, it's the villain.
What does villain 6 do?
Only 2 big blinds, right? He might call. Nah, he'll probably fold. 4-7 off.
Yep.
I guess fold.
So I think villain 7, I think 4-7 is probably too far down in villain 6's range. I don't think a 4-7 offsuit in the small blind I don't think you need to get to this to get to 45. But what
Definitely
just happened
6-7.
in what happened in the previous 2 hands?
He lost and lost.
Lost this, he called down
It
in
might be
that.
steaming.
Yeah. So he called that one and lost. He bet this one and had to fold.
Mm,
I think he calls.
he's definitely calling.
That's weird.
7
And that could have
is.
easily gone the other way. He could have tightened up because if it was us and we were playing reasonable ranges and we hit a hand that was marginal, like on the edge here, and we'd lost the previous 2 hands, what do we usually do? I know what I usually do. I tighten up rather than loosen up because I'm afraid I'm sort of, I'm near tilt. So let me make my life easier for a couple of hands. I don't say that's good. I just say that's my mistake. What do you guys do? Which direction do you go after losing 2 hands when the next hand is
This.
when you have a
Maybe?
choice? No, now this you fold this. You all to fold this. I'm saying when you are near your cusp and you've lost the previous 2 hands, how do you react? That's an open question. Answer it, everybody.
I probably tighten up.
Okay, you tighten up.
Tighter.
Okay.
I get aggressive.
Yeah, what was the context of this question, Scotty?
I'm saying
And
what bad adjustment, what emotional adjustment do you make? And if you say I don't change at all, great, good for you. But you've lost the previous 2 hands. You've played them reasonably within your world. You didn't have to get tremendously beat. Doesn't have to be that. Doesn't have to be like the worst beat in the world. You just lost 2 hands. And then on this next hand, you have a hand that is cuspy.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
one that
no, it's 2 hands. No, I wouldn't change anything.
you just play your frequencies. Good for you.
Yeah.
Sort of gets a
Yeah.
little bit more aggressive. Larry pulls back for a moment. I often pull back after 3
Why?
because if I feel my face starting to get hot and I go, I'm not at my best. Let me go.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying you feel like you might be in some sort of tilt world or something.
I might be getting closer to tilt, or if it's one where I had to fold a good hand, like especially if I didn't see the showdowns. Like if I saw the showdowns, it'd be one thing. But if I got pushed off my hand twice, I would think reasonably that the people at the table might be thinking, this guy's easy to push off a hand. Let's push him off his next hand. And my next hand is a hand that's easy to push me off because it's cuspy. So I might start to be afraid that how they're going to adjust to me. I might also react emotionally and go, all right, I don't need to take this one. Let's just let the blood pressure go down like that. I might be making a mistake.
Well, I'll be honest. If you're feeling like this after 2 hands in a row, you're going to be feeling like this a lot. That seems you shouldn't be making adjustments. I don't think based on 2 hands.
I agree.
Mhm.
I think these are the wrong adjustments to make. So the question is, what do you actually do? And I agree with you. The right thing is no change. This guy, my prediction is that he goes the opposite direction. Tura says that he gets a little more aggressive, like, let me win it back, which is also not good, Tura, but I understand the feeling.
Yeah,
But
but
this
not.
guy-
It's
I
not
just had to
like
be
other
aggressive post
times
flop.
when I get a tilt after a losing session. Like if the variance is bad,
Yeah.
then I might get tilted.
And let's all not make those, let's all fix that and only make the correction if you think that they're adjusting to you. That's about real play, not about, not about, oh, I'm due for the good cards or any of that nonsense. But I think this guy widens out. And the reason is because his way of thinking that he wins at poker is by playing too many hands. So that's what he needs to do to get better. If somebody is a maniac and loses two hands, they're more likely to 3-bet the next one or go all in, because that's how they think people win at poker, and they need to win it back. Okay. But either way, he called with 4-7 offsuit, and this hand is Dean's, I think. Is that right? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, there you go, Dean.
And he probably also calls because he has money in the pot already. He knows Dylan
Mhm.
Seven's not going to do anything aggressive because they've been calling behind and limping behind a lot.
What should villain 7 do in this position?
I'll fold, but
What
even
will
call.
villain 7 do?
100%. Yeah, 100% call.
Yeah, right. Of course I'll call. Of course I'll call.
Hmm.
And finally, justice.
I don't know what they'll do because they might just randomly donk, but we'll see like a check. I bet
What size?
3.
3 is fine. If you
Wow.
bet big here,
Big
you're probably making a GTO
Four.
mistake. Multi-way pots, we push our bet sizes down. So 3 is kind of large in a multi-way pot. 2 is normal, and 3 is fine. But I mean, if you were thinking my hand wants to bet pot, but you're multi-way, that should push it down to 66% pot. If you're thinking I should be betting half pot, push it down to third, or do the simplification that we all do, which is 1/3 pot in multi-way pots and stop thinking. Okay, so he does that.
Fold call.
Yep. And should this guy call? He shouldn't be there, but as played, should he call?
Yeah, why not?
I think he
Yes.
should. I think he should. Yeah, I think he hasn't lost enough money yet with all these draws out, with all the hands that all the draws he could be betting. He needs to at least lose that much.
Take care, Mel.
You gotta go, Mel. Bye, Mel.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
If you stick around for 2 more minutes, I'll give you the next hand and then leave. But if you have to leave right now, bye. Your choice.
Okay, no, then I'll stay. I'll stay.
Yay! We get Mel.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Check.
7.
Queen 7 check.
Mhm.
I would still bet because guy's sticky and still, and only 37 big blinds. You can still get it in with one pair.
Okay. He checks behind, which I don't think is bad. This 9 is better for villain 7's range than for our range. There's so many draws that giving a free card is kind of yucky, but you can't, but you have two bad things working against each other. So he chose the check. I don't think that's wrong.
But it also has like a ton of queens and shitty kings.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And then it sucks. Now
Yep.
we can't get any too much value really.
Nope.
Check.
Against the check, are you considering betting here and then folding to a raise?
Maybe maybe just like do the min half pot. But then they just jam and that just sucks.
Do it. But I think we should definitely consider betting here.
I would always bet.
Yeah. we're gonna do Melanie's hand and then we're gonna come back to this with a solver and
I
assume
think
that
it's
there's,
good to bet against this guy at like 5 big blinds because he's the queen seven's gonna call. I mean, I'm not even looking at the queen, just that villain seven's gonna.
yeah,
They call pretty. They call a lot in the previous hands, you know.
yeah, I think we can bet this. I think this is thin enough to bet for value. All right, Melanie, this is your hand.
If I was against villain one though, I wouldn't bet that.
Yeah, definitely. All
Okay.
right.
Ace nine suited should raise, and then it should fold to the big blind.
Damn right. But when you have an R of 0, when you've played, oh, this is only 4 hands. We know nothing about him. Well, now we know something about him. So he limps.
Okay. Villain 6 is probably going to call,
Yeah, I think he's gonna limp behind. He didn't.
and then
Oh,
villain 7 is going to limp behind.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. So that's that.
Right. Does this guy ISO? Should he ISO with 5?
Mm, I don't know. Maybe I would, yeah, maybe I would do that with like 8s, 9s, but
Yeah.
5s is maybe too small.
Yeah. He doesn't.
Okay. Villain 7 should check. Villain 1 should check behind, and then villain
So
8
what do you want here?
for villain 7.
For but yeah, what do you want? What do you want to have happen now?
He should check.
Yep.
Villain 1 should check behind.
Yep.
And villain 8 should bet 20, well, 1 big blind.
Yep. You can bet 1, 2, or 3. Remember, this is not the same multi-way world because it's a limped pot, so the pot is so small in the absolute sense. But he should definitely bet. He should definitely
Yeah.
bet something.
Small,
You can
but keep people in the pot, and yeah.
And 1, 2, and even a pot size bet here is still small because it is not small relative to the pot, but it's absolute small. So they will respond to it that way. But he checks behind, which is way too nitty.
Yeah.
Thank you for punishing the weak.
So
right.
I don't know what villain 7 is up to, but he should still check, but he might even bet. And villain 1 should bet. But probably, I mean, we're still in the absolute small, so probably also anything between 1 and 3 big blinds is okay.
Yep. That's what he chooses.
And villain 8 just calls.
Yeah, this is an easy call here. I don't, and do you think he should raise here at all? With his massive combo draw? Do you think he should raise?
I mean, the problem is that the big blind has just so many more 5, 8, 10 jacks in his range that he just defends. So
Remember, the big blind didn't defend. That's the magical thing. The big blind has his full range here. He has every 2 pair possible.
oh, that's right.
Because he was never raised off anything. The only thing he doesn't have is aces, queens, and probably jacks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we don't really know anything about him, so I would just call, be careful.
I agree. And you only have 1 card to come. You could have raised him on if he had bet the flop, you could have raised the flop. And if it had gotten all in on the flop, you'd be fine getting all in with this hand. You know, even against 2 pairs, you'd be fine. But with 1 card to come, you don't want to get it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely don't want to let him re-raise you. There you
go. Well, villain 5, villain 1 with the 5s. The only thing that I would now be concerned if I were him is that there is the possibility for straight. So the question is, what are the odds that villain 8 has a straight? How many times? King 9 ace, king. Yeah, so not that often. So I would probably bet small. If I get re-raised as villain one, I would think about it again. But I would bet the river,
Okay.
and villain eight should fold.
Villain eight should call. He has the straight.
Oh yes, oops,
He
sorry.
can call a raise. He doesn't have the nuts. He's beaten by ace king, which this guy doesn't have. He's beaten by king nine, which this guy certainly could have. He could certainly have king nine, this guy. And that's it. Everything else, but he chops with so much. When he raises, he tends to only get called by chops, so maybe he doesn't raise. Let's see. But he bets.
Villain eight should raise,
Okay.
but not too much.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And he just does the call there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if I would be villain eight, and I get this sort of bet on the river from villain one, I would want to raise him, then I would do it small so that like villain one can't really get out of it, because if I put too much pressure, then he's going to fold.
Yeah. So what's your size? When you say not too big, what's your size?
Like either twice the amount or 2 times the amount, but not, yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to go from 3.95, you're going to go somewhere between 6 and 8. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
2.5.
Just
Yeah.
get some more value.
Yeah. Something that makes two pair go fine and call.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if he ever jams on you, and literally, I mean, jams on you,
Hmm.
you ever fold through his representation of king nine exactly?
No.
Okay. I think I do.
Yeah.
So, and I think maybe this is a thing to think about here, which is if you are going to fold to a jam, then you are allowed to raise. And if you're not going to fold to a jam, then maybe you're not allowed to raise. Maybe. You see why? That's a thing to think about there. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's true, but I would consider that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Have fun
Also-
now.
Thank you.
Sorry,
See you around.
Okay.
I think villain one should at least spot it here.
Okay.
I think a straight should always raise.
Okay. This, without the intervening, we can look at this one's lookable just in a sort of normal land, because there are some checkbacks here and he would be there with fives if this guy had raised his ace nine. So we'll look at that. But let's look at the previous hand, because there was something here in the previous hand that we did want to see. And that was how we respond to a board that is this connected, that there are straights, but there's so many draws. We're not going to do it multi-way. So this is going to be cutoff and big blind. So we have a cutoff raise, big blind calls. The magical board is queen nine of spades, king of diamonds. Queen nine of spades, king of diamonds. So we have the non-surprising check range on this board. We do not slow play king jack. I'm sorry, is it king jack we have? Yeah. Oh, we have the draw. That makes all the difference. We block the draw. We're not worried about this at all. So we bet the king jack. And what do the queens have to do? We bet small, which exists. Queens are already. Does any queen fold? No queen folds. So even as bad as queen six, you have to lose more money. All right. Then the nine comes, which we think is good for his range, but not good enough to bet. Now, king jacks do. So here's our answer we were looking for. King jacks do back off a little bit sometimes. They're in that tension. The nine is bad for us, but giving a free card is bad for us. Well, that all things are bad. And the suit that makes us bet, the thing that holds us back from betting is a heart in our hand. I give 10 seconds for anybody to tell me why it's a heart in our hand. And after that, I'm gonna say, I don't need to learn this much yet. All right, I don't need to learn this much yet. So he did the check behind. His particular combo was spade club and spade club does some of the least checking behind. All right, but still makes sense. The EV is going to be similar or else it wouldn't be there. So we check behind. And now we get the very funny jack of diamonds. And now with our two pair, but the straight available. Now the big blind has donks of donks. There's a straight donking. There's a straight checking. There's a straight mixing donks and checks. This is the nut straight. So it's happy to get bet by a 10. Mixing. Other 10s, all the other 10s, mostly betting. But we do have some straights in our check back range. A little bit of nut straight. And then a bunch of them we don't. When checked to, knowing that that guy has held back the nuts, what does King Jack says, thank you, I enjoyed this. I'm not putting any more money in this pot to try to get check raised by a 10. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on this weird hand? On finding out anything about this weird hand with the,
It's
On the
interesting
river.
hand, but I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, just to kind of throw my thought process in here, I like the small bet. I like half pot or a third pot here as villain one, because I don't expect in position to ever, well, I'd be surprised if in position is raising too frequently with anything that's worse than the 9 straight, but they're definitely going to call us with like 2 pairs, so you get a little bit of value against worse hands, and you also are blocking against better hands that are likely also going to call you. So I like a smaller bet on the river.
Okay. We're going to get right there.
And I also agree with you, Scotty, that if you're not willing to like raise fold it with just a naked 9, I wouldn't be raising very often on that river.
Yeah. Yeah. Think that makes sense. All right. So here we are. We have the 5 of hearts and the big blind with his pocket fives bets out. And his size was on here. This, we'll just take the biggest size that he allows him to get the pot in the right space, which is 9.8, which was over pot. And we wanted to get to 8. So, oh, we're never going to get to the right size
So
here.
Tura wins because he wanted to bet big on the river.
Yeah. Okay. We're
And
not on the
that's, oh, not on the river yet. Okay, never mind.
not on the river yet.
Good, good.
So we're just going to choose a size. We're going to just choose the most common size that he chooses with his 5s,
Well,
which are,
there's a pot button there.
yeah, 6.5. Oh, no, he does 9.8. He overpots it.
Right, but as played,
It's
he
played,
just
we got to choose we got to choose the smaller size to keep the pot sort of in this range, and smaller than that is crazy. Okay. The ace 9 suited of clubs, which is what we have, right? Yeah, we have the ace 9 of clubs is never going to fold, just never going to happen. And all the other ace 9s get the hell out of the way. Just a straight draw is not enough with one card to come against that size. But he calls. Okay. There's our call. And the river is the magical queen of hearts. And now, first question, 5s. 5s go, I have a set. And they bet basically half pot. They bet the 60% pot size, right? No, they bet, yeah, they bet the 60% pot size. There it is. And the ace nine straight mixes in that world. Doesn't jam. Its most common size is 64. I mean, it's the 33. There he goes. From 11, so 2x, the other guy's raise. And when jammed on, size and calls for the chop.
It looks like it's indifferent because there's some folding there too.
There is a little bit of fold. A little bit of fold. And the importance of the suits is going to be not important. All right. That was, so next is, we did Tura, and so next is Mike. I think.
No, it was Melanie.
Okay, Tura, this is you.
Tens open. And it should fold around.
It should. Do we think this guy's going to call a jack 3 to a 2? I think he's going to fold it. What do you think?
I think he's gonna call.
You think he's going to call? No, that's jack 3's too far out of his range there. Okay, then of course I'm going to fold and we go on. Okay, take the next one also, Tura.
King 6 should open.
King 6 should open, but queen 7 is going to limp.
And I would ISO this guy.
King 6 ISO. All right. He does. Too small, but he does.
That's not bad. He's short stack.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Right. And is he folding to the ISO?
I would call King 10 off. And he should fold Queen 7.
Yeah, he should fold queen 7. He won't. Okay.
And now it should go check. And I would probably bet small.
Do we think this guy's going to donk?
No, I think he learned his lesson.
Okay.
Okay, he didn't.
Bad dog. Bad dog.
Yeah, I would just call.
And this guy has definitely learned his lesson that all he needs is an overcard and a backdoor flush, and maybe not even that much, to the fact that he's seen what his donking is, that this guy has been donking without even a pair. He's seen it. It got shown down. He observed it. Good for him.
Now, another dunk or?
We've seen him do it. We've seen him continue that small donk. He does it. I mean, this guy's strategy could not. We would like to play against him tonight if we could. That would be really good.
I would probably jam now.
Okay. That's strong. Given the stack size, that's probably good. It's probably a good idea. I probably wouldn't do it because I don't have the confidence that he doesn't have a single pair here. I don't mean I shouldn't do it. I'm thinking like, oh, good. I've actually picked up something. But he does it. And he bluffs him off the worst hand. But that's fine. So villain 1 has gone back up in our estimation. Because the fact that he called that queen 9 suited, we don't look down on so much, because I would have made that mistake too. But he has gone up in our estimation with that hand. All right. Mike.
Okay. What should happen is that King 10 should raise and take it. Suited cards for villain 6 means he's going to limp.
Right.
This is kind of getting a little sketchy now, because he's started with 18 bigs. And you were still pretty early with King 10 off.
Yeah.
And you have 4 other players behind you. This would really depend on how I thought about the players behind me here. And I think I probably just fold King 10 right now.
Yep. So looking at the Joey flow chart, our most conservative version of this is 2 steps back and the top half of this, and king 10 is nowhere near that. So that's a fold. But we know that this guy does the 2 things that are worse. One, he splits his range. Therefore, his best hands aren't in it, and he limps way too much. So now we should be at a minimum doing either our full range from 2 steps back, or at a minimum, the top half of our range in this position, and at a maximum, our whole range. King 10 in the hijack is a full frequency open. So I think we should get after it.
I'm not doing it against an 18 big blind shorty
Okay.
with 4 other people.
All right. I accept that. Now let me argue against it. So when we raise here, our most likely situation is we're going to go heads up, right? So it's the most likely outcome when we ISO here. What are our best types of hands, types of hands against short stacks? Other than the nuts, other than aces, kings, queens, ace, king. I mean, as we go down, it's the big offsuit cards much more than the suited connectors, much more than the suited aces. So I'd rather have king 10 here than ace 5 suited against 18 big blinds. So that's the other thing. But you're going to say fold. So he does the worst of all 3 choices and calls.
Fold, fold, fold. So interesting. Well, yeah, 10-7. Again, it's a short stacks, 2 short stacks in there. I was going to say if you had full stacks, the 10-7 is connected, possibly connected enough to complete, but not against the short stacks.
I'm not. We could be 200 big blinds deep, and I'm folding this. Got to be suited there.
And check 10-8.
Check 10-8.
Check. Yeah. I mean, probably just check.
Right. I expect he's going to bet though. He likes to, he does those donks. That's his strategy. He hasn't done it multi-way, but given that he actually has something, I think he's going to bet. Yeah, he does.
Fold.
Yeah. Even though we know that he does this with nothing, neither of us are in a position to do anything about it. Is the 8-10 in a position to do something about it? He is. He has 2 backdoor. He has a backdoor and an easy backdoor to filling, because if the 6 comes, he's open-ended. If the 9 comes, he's open-ended, and he's got 2 overs to the 7, but the guy has no money. And our backdoor, you need more money for backdoors. Yeah, so that's kind of. What do you guys think of this 10-8? Ever calling it?
No.
Nope.
No.
No, we don't need to. You know why? And it's just that 2 people were in there. We only own half the MDF. We own the MDF, the square root of the MDF. Screw it. We're out. Yeah, we're out. All right, Frank.
Okay. Let's see. It should fold around to the small blind who opens, but I expect villain 6 to probably limp with his nutted queen 9 offsuit.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. So now, okay, villain 7 joins. That's a surprise, but I guess maybe not so much since he limped that king 10 offsuit hand. Yeah, and he's a 50. Yeah. Looks like he's getting looser than he was 15 hands ago, or whatever, 10 hands ago. Yeah. Okay. So now I expect it to fold to the small blind who will complete, and then the big blind will check.
Yep. This guy's, it's possible that's just random how it's happened to him, like the hands that have done it. It's also possible that he has made an adjustment to villain 6, but hasn't figured out the right adjustment.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, actually.
Yeah. He says, this guy's in with garbage cards. I should be in the hand with him. Therefore, I call wider, rather than realizing, no, therefore I raise and get up against him.
Yeah, totally. I think that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Okay, so I think 5s here should check. And 3, okay, 5s bet. I don't really like that bet.
I agree with you 100%.
Because it doesn't really do what you think it does. I would imagine that villain 8 is trying to quote unquote protect their hand, but the
Mhm.
problem is everything that has enough equity to continue is in position on you and will continue.
Right.
And now with
Also,
yeah,
also you get called by better hands.
yeah, exactly. And if you're beat, they're not going anywhere either. They might even re-raise you. And if I was in villain 9's position, I would probably re-raise here with my, well, uh, I can see calling here to keep the other villains in the pot. I think that's fine.
Especially this guy.
Yeah, especially that guy. I'm trying to think of what my raising range would be here if I was in villain 9's position. And I don't know, maybe if you had like an ace 5 or a king 5, it would be a better re-raise against a dominated 3. But yeah, flatting there is fine. And then I would expect 6 and 7 to fold.
I'm not convinced 6 is gonna fold.
Wow. Okay. I am so bad at predicting villain 6's actions.
Yeah.
Okay, so villain 6 calls,
Don't
villain
think like you-
7. Yep, fold. All right. Now the 7 hits.
Fuck you.
And and if I'm villain 8 here, yeah, I'm probably just check and giving up now.
Mhm.
Villain 9, I don't hate a check here, especially since there's a lot of 7s out there.
I,
Um,
yeah.
I think a bet here doesn't do very much because now the flush draws don't want to play.
Mhm.
And the gutters probably, or the whatever kind of straight draw you have is drawing
Mhm.
very thin.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not a great bet, but that's okay. I expected to go bet fold here.
Yeah,
Okay.
he calls on what if the guy called me with a flush draw and is now trying to push me off? So it's like he's gonna fold to a big bet on the river. He might call a very small bet on the river. You know, he's hoping for a 5 also. So there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, and so it's probably gonna go check, bet fold, bet small if I had to guess.
Gotta be small.
Probably like 25%-ish, about 4 to 5 big blinds.
So here's where we would violate the Matt Affleck rule.
Oh, you would? Because what was
Yeah,
his rule? You got to
if
bet
you bet
half pot or better.
Yeah, half pot or better if you were going to bet here. So in reality, you might look at this and just go, I'm not going to bet here. But if you want to get called by an ace high or a pocket pair that's not big because this guy didn't raise pre-flop in this limped pot. He doesn't have 10s. You know, you want to get called by us, a straight and things like that, those little ones, they may not call a half pot. So you might have to violate the Affleck rule. And he just goes for the check, which is clean. So the one thing on this hand was here on so for the 5s, on this decision right here for the 5s. So you're sitting there with pocket 5s, which you could be. This could be any one of us, right? We didn't all ISO the pocket 5s out of position to the 2 players, right? I mean, we might have done it sometimes, but we definitely called here some. So this could be us. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm calling 100% there with 5s.
Good. Me too. Me too. That's what I'm doing here. And we look at this flop and go, this flop kind of is our flop in that we have no overcards to it, but it just isn't, because it's like you want to bet because if you can get a Jack 10 to fold, it's actually quite good to bet here, because Jack 10 has actually a lot of equity against you. And the combination of Jack 10, Ace 9, and King 4 that you're up against, all combined, King 6, really put you at a disadvantage. But you just can't bet into this because when while you clear up all that equity, when you get called, you're just dead.
Exactly. I completely agree. I mean, a 7's not folding here.
7's not folding here. 3 has you. Flush draw's not folding, and it's a flush draw and 2 overs. They have plenty of it. You're not the favorite against a flush draw with 2 overs. Yeah. You just, I
Mhm.
think what you have to do here is say, I have the best hand right now, most of the time, and I'm gonna lose this pot. That this isn't my, you know, you knew if the flop was ace, king, queen, it wasn't your flop, right? Turns out 3-3-7 against 3 players maybe just isn't your flop, which is horrible to see.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, yep. And did he lose the right amount of money having made that choice? I think so. I think he lost the right amount of money.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that he does. I think he does call that 3 there. I think that was the right thing to do.
You think he calls like a 25% bet on the river?
All right, let's do it. Well, first of all, this guy's got to fold first because if it goes call, he folds instantly.
Mm-hmm.
If this goes check and he bets 3 and he calls the 3, you need to fold.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But he bets here, so it's the river. We check, and he bets 4.5.
Yeah, I might even call there actually on the river just because so many draws missed and I'm blocking the straight. I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, but the problem is this: the flushes missed, and I got you on this, but the straights all beat you now because the straight draws were 4-5, 5-6, and 4-6, right? And every one of them beats you.
Totally.
Yeah. So there's no bluffed straight. There's the bluffed flushes. Do we think that the flush, I mean, this is a terribly exploitative thing, but do we think that a flush bluffs or bets for value 4.5?
I think if you have the ace, you might just check it back.
The ace, just the naked ace.
Yeah, yeah, like the
Yeah, yeah.
ace high. Yeah,
Like a win. Yeah.
yeah. And then if you do get bet here, um, really, I mean, villain nine's checking a 3, really only repping like, I don't know, a 7, maybe some weird 3. I don't know. It's tough. I think a fold's still fine there.
So villain 9 can easily have the 5-8 of spades here. Trivial. I'm sorry, you have the 5 of spades. Can easily have the 5-8 of clubs here and can easily have the 6-8 of spades because he didn't call, he didn't have to call anything to get in there. So he's got his full range. Then he calls 1 bet on the flop with the 6-8 of clubs, right? He's still got the 6-8 of clubs here, and he now bets a bluff with a 6-8 of clubs. And you call him once. You check. Does this guy bluff the 6-8 of clubs here? Well, no.
No, because he hit a 6 on the river.
Yeah. Give him the, yeah, it's yuck. All right.
Yeah.
I have nothing more intelligent to say about that hand. And we can't solve it. All right. Frank Dean.
Hmm,
I give you this mess.
fold to the small blind.
10-8. 10-8's a raise on the button if you know it. This guy doesn't know it. There's no chance that his guy's going to do it with a, with a R of 0. He's never going to find it. But 10-8 offsuit on the button is a raise. Very, very common. How common is it in this trainer? Let's find out. The button, 10-8 offsuit. Not very common at 3. Very common it's very common at 2.5. But there you go. All right. So just like you said, small blind ace 4.
Yeah,
Should
throw it over.
raise and take
Yep.
it,
Mhm.
but he chooses not to. And in a strategy that includes limps, which this one does, the ace 4 offsuit mixes. So we're going to play this.
Check.
He bets. Can't be
Weird.
wrong, right? He's got a straight draw. So he's
Yeah,
allowed.
but
Okay. Here you are. You got deuce 5. You'd be here. What are you going to do?
I'm calling.
Just call. All right. We're gonna be the deuce five guy, because we're never gonna limp the ace four.
No, I never donk it.
It's not a donk, technically, in a limped pot, but whatever.
Oh, I
Go on.
thought. Oh,
No.
villain check
Yeah,
behind.
he did. No, he just
Oh
limped.
yeah, yeah.
He just limped. It's just,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
you
one
have
big
nuts
blind,
there.
not bad. No, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, that's fine.
On the turn. Hmm. We know they got like.
When bet call,
Yeah, I know. I'll probably just check.
okay. He checks.
5, check.
He didn't. I like the check there, though. He bets,
Calling.
call with your, oh, yeah. Call with your, you still have a straight draw. You got an overcard. You've got 50 behind. Yeah, probably too
No
tight.
clubs.
Still probably too tight. Larry,
All right, I think king ten is too early. I think ace ten is too early. Both of these guys should fold, but they're not gonna.
Yeah.
Ace ten's gonna open.
and how's he gonna, but how, is he gonna open by raising or open by limping?
Um, probably limp.
Yeah, he's gonna limp. That's what R14 means.
So king ten is in an awkward spot. Generally, I would fold. Just fold it. Jack ten jack, I would fold it.
He will fold. He's the best player at the table, we've decided.
Ten jack is. I would do interesting things with a suited combo, but with this combo, I'm just folding it this early.
Yeah, we gotta fold it. No choice.
Ace king should go to 4 or 5 big blinds somewhere in there.
Yeah.
They're both broken stacks. It's gonna get interesting.
There he goes. 4-5, good for him.
Villain five does not have the implied odds in this hand,
Mhm.
so he should fold.
Yep.
4-3 should fold. Ace 10 should fold.
Yep.
Okay, 4-3 is going
Disconnect.
to
Call,
bingo,
right.
and ace 10 should fold.
Should fold, absolutely should fold, and
but
isn't
is
going.
Not going to.
Yep.
Okay, so we go to a flop. Nice flop. Now this is an interesting spot. We've got an SPR of essentially 2 against ace 10 on a pretty dry flop.
Mhm.
Check around, and I think I would bet 5, although I don't mind exploitative check. But I
Okay.
think I would essentially always bet 5 here.
Gotcha. Would you be shocked to see villain 6 jam here?
No.
Oh, jam. Yeah. Would you expect villain 6 to jam here?
I expect him to jam 9s. I don't know about 3. In
Yeah.
a 3-bet pot, in a ISO pot.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I-
these guys will just fucking go with it. So
I don't expect him to jam, but if I do it, it's not gonna be like one of those things going, what the hell? I go, yeah.
no,
yeah.
sometimes I mean,
That's,
this is
that's
pretty common. So this is a very interesting spot. Let's see. Ace 10 should just fold. He's not, probably. He's gonna stick around. So I would maybe slow play this. This is an interesting spot. So I've already said that 6 times, but our SPR is now essentially what, a 0.75? This is as dry as a flop gets, pretty much. Maybe king 7-2 is more dry. I think I just check. I think I just call rather. I don't really need to raise this point on this texture.
Yep.
If I'm up against 2 pairs, so be it. I'm not really ever folding.
yeah.
So I'm going to call here. I want these guys to continue to dunk off into what essentially is top of range. I don't think we need to shove. I think often our instinct here is to end this pot because we're multi-way. But I think this texture, this uniquely dry and static texture, allows us to slow play.
Yeah. And what do you think about the non-GTO thing of a pot sweetener bet? Of betting, of clicking back to 4 or 5? I'm not
Yeah,
suggesting you think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think that's of better. I think that's of more interest if we are deeper. But I think at this stack depth, it would be 6 into what is 15, 21. I think deeper, a click is good, but I don't think we need to this deeply.
Yeah.
I think we want to more if there's any kind of draws available, but I think this dry texture just allows a call.
Although I'm surprised to see it in this order, I think that once this guy bets 2 and has 9 back and has 10 back at this pot size, I'm getting the rest of his money.
Yeah, he doesn't really matter. But
That's
it
what's
doesn't
gonna
really
happen.
matter now.
So it's this guy's money I'm thinking about if I do.
Yeah.
And if I do a pot sweetener, like I raise this to 4, that
Mhm.
allows this guy to jam, which allows this guy to figure out he's beat. So that's why I definitely don't want to do a pot sweetener.
Yeah, I agree. I think call's better.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that makes that a terrible bet.
I think we need to be deeper first to think about raising here. I think this
I'd have
SPR,
to just go
you
call
don't really
call.
need to do it. Sorry, Dean, say
Villain,
again.
I said villain 6 could just call, and then villain 7 calls the extra 2 big blinds behind the 2. He might not jam
He
Sure,
might
a
not.
lot of
sure,
times.
but I think it's more about
And
SPR
then
and
on the
two
turn, it looks
streets
like
to
a
still get
super
it
low
in
SPR
on a
or
really dry
1
texture, and
percent.
I think is
Yeah.
I think that's our priority. Is that I think what prioritizes slow play here is the dry texture and the SPR.
Yep. And one other thing, there's one other thing, Dean, on Larry's check behind why I think it's also better is the mistake we're looking for is we're looking for mistakes from ace 10. 3-4's already made his mistake with whatever his range is. I mean, whatever his hand is. And if we raise here and 3-4 doesn't jam, then maybe we get the 2 more for ace 10. But then 3-4 check is more likely to check, right? And the order that we want the betting to go is we want 3-4 to bet for ace 10 to be trapped before we raise. Because if we go to 4 and he just calls and he calls, great.
I'm not guaranteed he's not going to dunk the turn.
He's less likely to donk the turn when we raise him. But his continue is easy. Bet, call, call. He can continue the next one more easily. And then if he doesn't, it's the same thing, and I bet. So that's why I think there are 2 ways in which ace 10 gets away from it more easily if we raise here. One is the jam follow, and the other is that when we do the small bet and he doesn't jam it and he calls and makes a 2 big blind error, we're now stuck on the turn with more checks than bet calls. And we don't want check because we don't want this guy to be able to act to raise ever before this guy.
I mean,
Okay.
I think this is I think generally we don't want to slow play multi-way.
Mhm.
But I think
And there's like 10 queen, 10 jack type stuff.
this is a unique situation where it's a pretty dry texture.
Yeah.
And we have a very low
Yeah,
SPR.
queen.
Oh, you're right. Certainly, you're right.
Yeah, they do exist.
There are gutters, but this
Mhm.
is pretty fucking dry. So
Yeah.
I think this is a unique situation where we slow play.
I think so too. Yeah. Right. Up next after Larry is me. No one else is here. Yep, me. Fold, raise. Should 3-bet, won't 3-bet. And this should be a pure 3-bet in this situation. From behind, sorry. So it's gonna go raise. He's gonna call. This guy's gone. I will see if he buys back in or if we leave the table. If this guy doesn't buy back in, we're leaving the table, by the way. As soon as it gets to our big blind, we'll see what happens. Fold. That's what should happen. So there's the fold, there's the raise, there's the call. There should be a 3-bet. Having done this, these should all fold. This guy won't fold. This guy will call because he's getting his odds. And he is in the worst thing of all. He's not just beaten, he's dominated. All right. This should go check. Or I expect it to go check. It should go check. And then this guy, multi-way, backdoor. This guy's got to have some stabs in GTO world. But he's never gonna find them. Check, check, check. Oh my God. Shocked. I'll have to plug in my computer. This guy, queen five, of course, has to fold. And king queen, let's look at, is there enough depth for him to call? Against big size, I think he hasn't lost enough. I think he needs to lose 5 more big blinds and fold on the turn. Sometimes I fold here immediately because I go, what happens if I get the 10 of clubs? I only
Yeah.
have 3 outs.
Tough spot.
So I sometimes fold here, and against the full pot size bet, basically, probably not a bad fold.
I agree. I mean, this is the power position.
Yeah. And then let's do this with this one and see how big he has to bet to do it. So this is hijack. This is low jack hijack. So low jack raises. Here's the hijack king 10, that we saw there, but doesn't break the solver to call it. And then we just we're not going to put in the big blind there because he shouldn't be there and because we can't solve post flop if he is. So there we go. And we get this amusing jack 7 of clubs, ace of hearts. Ace of hearts. So here you go. You wanted some donk bets. Not donk, not donk. You wanted the low jack continuation bets. Here they are. No, that's not what you wanted. You wanted donks from the big blind at the end. That's what Larry wanted. Okay, anyway. Here is, we'll see if they do it. Here is this, his king queen, which is suited. He's got the king queen of diamonds on this board, and king queen of diamonds mostly checks. We do the check. Here is our king 10 of hearts, which exists. And it mostly bets, and it mostly bets big, which is what he does. And the king queen is already unhappy. So that's how hard it is. We're saying we've only got that. Clubs is trivial. Hearts is easy, and the other ones are hard. All right. Seems fair. And he takes that line. This line seems even better, by the way, in a multi-way pot to me. Because he's
Why?
betting 2 players, not just one.
So you think villain 8's line is better multi-way?
No, villain 3's line is better multi-way.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I would check here. I
Yeah.
free.
But no, no, the fold. This one here.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
yes.
Villain 3 is
uh,
supposed to be mixing his king queen of diamonds, right?
I see your point. Because it's multi-way
Yeah.
and villain 8 bet to 2 people, it makes more sense.
Yeah, I want to do it even
I
more.
agree.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's mine. We are on to Tura.
Ace 4 should open, and ace queen off, low frequency 3-bet, mostly call.
Against the low jack ace queen. Yeah. Yep. And he does.
Check. Ace 4, I would probably bet. And I would bet small.
So
One
this,
third.
okay. So I think we're gonna find, this is gonna be my guess here, is that we are going to not bet, we're gonna bet all of our good queens a lot. We're gonna not bet many of our 8s, including ace 8. And our 4s, we're going to bet our 5-4 here before we bet our ace 4 here. That's what I think.
Okay, but we don't have 5-4
No,
very often.
we have some 5-4 there. Not a lot, but some. Anyway, but this should
You
be a
wanna
check.
check now or later?
After,
Or
after, but it goes check, check. It goes check, check.
Now you wanna bet your 4. Or ace queen can probably yeah, I think I would bet ace queen.
Yep, you do.
And I would raise ace four,
What size do you want to raise to?
like 15. Seems
15.
like yeah.
Strong. I was gonna raise, I was raising to 10. So that's nice. Okay, you go 15. He goes halfway between the two of us ish. All right. Ace queen.
Call.
Yeah, you can't fold yet. You gotta lose more money.
And I would check call ace queen, and with ace four, I would go pretty big.
Okay.
I would go like actually, yeah, I think I would go like 40. I'm not really afraid of an eight.
Good for you.
I think he has a queen or he has a misdraw, so
Okay. He goes small. And against this size,
easy call.
easy call. You just call. Yeah. If I had the ace four, the first thing I would do is throw up in my mouth when the eight comes. And then I would bet small. I bet 13 here. So Tour is the one betting big.
It's probably player depending, but when he calls a big raise, I don't at first in first place I don't think he should bet eight a lot or
yeah.
any. So yeah, but if he's a fish and he because they do stuff like that,
Yep.
then I would be more concerned.
Flop is
Also, a
Queen.
fish can probably think you never have a queen when you check,
Yes.
or you don't have many fours anyway. So
All right. So let's look at this first thing on the flop. Our good, here are our queens. Our worst queen is queen 10, and queen 10 is checking, 53% of the time without, if you don't have the back door. If you have the back door to go with your queen 10, then then you bet 50%. So queen 10 is the one that checks a lot. Queen jack less, queen less, king queen medium. Ace queen, actually ace queen protects a fair amount. So your queens bet here. And in your suited branch of queens, lots of betting there. Okay.
all
So
of
those-
your range, most of your range.
Your eights mix their betting. And these are your only eights that you have. You don't have 7, 8. So they bet some, not a ton. The set bets all the time. Your fours, which you never have, you don't have any pocket fours. Your ace four, but your 5-4, much more. That was the one thing that I wanted you to see. Is that when you basically bluff your bottom pair, you bluff your bottom pair in this region more than in this region. Because this region here coolers the aces that he has when the ace comes. You'd like him to continue with ace king when you have ace 4. You don't like him to continue with ace king when you have 5-4. That's not the only reason, but that is one of the things we see. Also, 5-4. Yeah, go on.
What percentage of our range are we betting?
Overall,
Do you see yeah,
60%. Betting a lot.
yeah, it's
A lot.
almost like a range bet.
Yeah, we're betting a lot and we're betting a lot big.
What's the sizing?
That is an uncommon thing to see.
71.
Yeah. We're betting 4.5 mostly. We don't see this very often.
Is it always in these positions? Because I think it's almost always like polarizing bet when you're early position against the big blind.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, let's look for that in the future. Let's just take another, when we're done with this, let's take one more random flop. with, against that, because I thought it was because of the queen highness of the flop that did it. Like if this flop is ace high, I don't think we're gonna polarize. So we'll try that one.
It just changed the flop.
Reasonable with ace four. Check, check. Then we got the four of spades, because that's funny. Now the ace queen who's there mostly bets out. It makes total sense. And his size is, he does the big size, which is the, in this world, the 3.9. He bets three quarters. Closest thing to 3/4 we have is, I'm gonna call it 60. He bets there. Ace four, never slow plays. 5/4, never slow plays. And its size is most commonly huge. My God.
23.5.
Yeah. Yeah. You were right. You were right for the big size. Your big size is way better than my choice on this. Because my choice was the 11 and it's okay. You know, it would rather go the 18, but it really loves giant. As played, we don't break the solve. He raised like to 11. Ace queen can never fold. And then the hilarious river, the 8 of hearts. Ace queen checks and hopes for it. And what does the 4 do now? The 4 goes for it. And the size is big. 2x pot. 150%. No, 2x. Yeah, 150% pot. And that was the thing, and that's what you were talking, and that's what you did, right?
Yeah.
So you got that one better. You crushed me on that one too, because you never go. This is the 50% pot one. And yeah, it's got a tiny bit of it in there, but it's just yuck. And there's also, this shows us also, generally, this is going to show us a bug in this solver, which is when we see this strategy, one of the hands that we cannot have here is, it is impossible to have the ace 4 of clubs, right?
Yeah.
There's the ace 4 of clubs.
Oh.
But this is what's going to amuse you in this bug, which is, as we go here, if I go, is it still showing me the ace 4? It's still showing me the ace 4 of clubs, right? Okay, I go to 6, 7. Is it ever going to fix itself? Sometimes it does. I don't care. Anyway, so there's the bug. You'll see how the ace 4 of clubs is just doing weird things depending on what came before it. See how it's giving you all these different results? And that's only when we're on the full mode. When we're in this mode, it doesn't make that mistake. It's just this tiny little bit that's just down there that when you make it full, it doesn't know what zeros look like. All right. And I've reported that to them. But now it's on YouTube. All right, that was Tura. We are on to Mike, and we'll stop at the next hand that Hero plays. That's where we'll be. All right. Won't be this one.
Righty. Fold. He posted. Is that the same villain or is this a new guy?
That is the same guy. And you know how we can tell?
Or
Because
as we
I'm
know.
still at the table.
So he posts Jacks, ace 10's only got 25 bigs here. Yeah, I'm just gonna make it probably 3.5. I'll ISO 3.5. He limps behind. Jack 8
The worst
fold,
play
king
possible.
3 check.
Yeah. The worst play possible against this guy is to be limping behind with lots of hands. Once again, good discipline from this guy. And oh, this counts as a Scott. This counts as this will be our last hand. I played it.
So we got the king 3 off over there. Nice to see a flop. Nice to hit a flop. So we're gonna check the 4-5 limp. What's he gonna do? He's gonna bet. He's gonna bet 3, I bet, or 2. I bet he bets 2. He checks, and the ace 10 of diamonds is. Do we ever get to like make a little stab here? I would say probably not. Or maybe. I mean, you probably could. It
Liver,
probably
slow
yeah.
down. I think we check back.
Yeah, I would check back myself. He does a little one big blinder. I mean, it's probably fine, but I wouldn't do it. King 3 with the middle pair towards the bottom there. I would call. Okay.
That's a good way to
You
do
know
it.
what? I'm kind of okay with that too, actually. Wait, versus the stack size of the button, I don't think I would do it. I think I would just call, but I think you're fine. I think it's okay. 4-5, the open ender.
Yeah.
Now that it went little bit raise, it's kind of a tough spot.
It is a tough spot.
Yeah, I don't. This guy's not folding. We can
We
predict
know
that.
he's not. I'm like, yeah. What should he do?
You should do a
God,
lot of folding because he's not. He's
yeah.
not
I
seeing the
think
action.
if I were in that spot here, I think I would probably just fold it.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't,
We
and you
know
can
he's
see how
not going
upset
to.
I am not happy right now. That
Yeah,
makes me.
I wouldn't be crazy worried though. I like if you had taken the line you've taken and then you get called by that guy, I wouldn't be so sure that we don't have the best hand here still a lot of the times.
Yeah, yeah. He bets. You got to figure this guy bets an 8 here. We've seen how he plays.
I mean, we're super happy when villain 7 folds. That's
We're
what
super
we
happy
just
when villain 7 folds. But even though we think we have the best hand now, we hate almost every card to come. We hate every
we are
card,
very marginally made.
yeah, that isn't a king or a 3. Those are the only cards we want to see. We would like there to be an earthquake and to end the hand there. 5. All right.
So we did that little business and we got called. Probably just probably check, see what happens, see what he does.
Yeah.
Depending on what he does would highly determine if I were villain 6 now, I would check behind.
He does.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, we just check our king 3, check to see what he does.
So
Are
the
you
10
pausing because you think you're going to value bet or turn your
No,
3 into
I'm not going to
bluff?
value bet. I'm going to it's the possibility of turning it into a bluff because the 10 changes the nuts.
Doesn't change the nuts.
Well, it doesn't change the nuts. It changes the hands that are out there. I mean, yes, 4, 6, and ace 4 are the nuts and all the sets and stuff. But this action doesn't look like 4, 6 or, bet, check, check. That doesn't look like ace 4, 4, 6, 3, 3,
Yeah.
5, 5, ace 6. It doesn't look like anything.
I know what you mean.
Right. It looks like 3, 6, 8, 7, maybe, probably not. I mean, I'm going to talk a little weird. It looks like 4, 5. It looks like 5, 6. Those hands that he could calling with. He called with 4, 6, 5, 6, and 4, 5. And this looks like 4, 5 a little bit and 5, 6 a lot. It looks like those things.
Yeah, but Scotty, I don't think on this river, I don't think you turn this into a bluff. I think you bluff catch way more than you try to turn it into a bluff.
That's what I did.
Yeah. And so he goes, ooh, what's our pot? Wait, what happened?
He check.
Oh, it checked. Okay.
Check. And that's our last hand. And we lost, we lost a couple of bucks to this guy. Money that we fully intend to get back in one of these hands. Don't know which one, but we fully intend it to happen. Okay, great. I'm gonna stop the recording now. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Anybody on?
you, Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty, after you stop recording here, I'll talk to you about something.
Great, awesome. And by the way, if anybody ever watches this on YouTube, and I don't know why you would, but if you do, if you come join us, you get to hear what Mike said after the recording ended.